Hello, everybody. So, for our Pokemon movie commentaries today, we're doing the first movie. Well, not just the first movie. We've decided we're gonna just give you the whole package. Why not? See the thing. See the thing. You see, everybody. Before DVDs and Blu-rays existed, for those of you younger in the audience, there were these shitty little things called the VHSs. Don't worry, they were terrible. You're fine enough.
I still use them though because in the VHS and cinematic version of this movie, you got a Pikachu short and then you got the movie. Now you're probably wondering, wait, but shouldn't you also mention the Mewtwo's origins? Yeah, that was actually originally part of the movie.
In the theatrical and VHS versions, yes. But then on the DVDs, they made the Mewtwo the Pikachu short, it makes sense to make it a special feature on the menu. Mm-hmm. However, the origin, the little 2-minute video explaining Mewtwo's origins was kept as a special feature, which is why we had to pull some hoops in order to get this commentary done and look more like it's like a proper done thing. So, yeah. Here's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to do things the way it was originally done in the theatrical and VHS versions. We're going to start with the Pikachu short. Then we're going to do a cool thing for you guys. We're going to just say I've got something special prepared for the origin of Mewtwo. But first, let's try to check out this short.
Hold on, though.
All right, everybody.
Unfortunately.
Yes, Jova?
Go ahead. How about the Blu-ray, Jova? Did the Blu-ray change anything?
People who have the Blu-ray version, you're in bad luck. Why? Because the Blu-ray version does not have any special features, no extras, the shorts are gone in the Blu-ray version.
Wow.
Brilliant!
Let's use backward.
There's a steelbook.
I take it back, the VHS is better.
There's literally a steelbook collection of the first 3 Pokemon movies, and the comments on Amazon all state how the extras and shorts like Pikachu's Vacation are missing.
Warner Brothers, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway,
I don't know if Warner Brothers was actually in charge of that Blu-ray version because that was actually Japanese funded.
Well, wasn't Warner Home Video who distributed these movies?
Whoever did it.
Oh, no, not at this point. This was 2016.
Whatever. Whoever did it, what the fuck is wrong with you?
We're starting with the Pikachu short. Pikachu's
Vacation. All right, everybody. So basically, go to the special features menu on your DVD. If you have a Blu-ray, well, I guess you're fucked. So go to special features on DVD, and you should be seeing the Pikachu short option. So just go there, pause at 0 with the black screen. You should be in sync with us. So 3, 2, click.
And it begins. Pokemon on the big screen.
Who saw these actually in theaters?
Me.
I didn't. I saw the second movie
I think I did see this in theaters, but I definitely recall seeing it on VHS.
Nintendo, you never cease to amaze how much shit you let pass through the marketing.
What do you mean?
Oh, 4 kids, yay!
Oh.
Gotta go fast!
Let's just say, everybody, they destroyed the opening of this movie, but I'll get into it.
What a surprise. Hey, Pikachu, you
So yeah,
yellow bastard.
So yeah, the first three Pokemon movies were all accompanied by Pikachu short. So this is the first one. It says Pikachu the movie for some reason, even though it's whatever.
Because
Pikachu. Personal space Pikachu. Jesus.
You're adorable, but that's still a bit too close.
And now we're doing a cow and chicken routine because in these shorts, so at least for this one, we never see Ash in the face, only the legs.
Except
Pikachu Project 98 presents
Pokémon.
Hey, you want to play some Pokemon?
If this was a cow and chicken routine, Dwibs, then everybody would drown in cow milk. So.
There will be a naked devil without pants.
So yeah, Pikachu's Vacation. And we have, not this one, but later on there's going to be a Christina Aguilera song in this short. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, wow. Really?
You know, I'll give Pokemon movies credit. They did not slouch on the music. For the most part.
Specifically for kids, because for the music of these movies, 4 kids did get some, especially in the second movie. In the second movie, they got freaking Donna Summer to sing the main theme.
And don't forget Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
I mean, you know, 4 kids had issues, but I will give them credit. When they tried, they actually did do pretty good. Heck, to the point where sometimes I even preferred the American soundtracks over the Japanese ones. Biggest example being Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
That's just the thing, Jova. I don't mind them replacing the songs. I don't like them replacing the musical score though, because I'm a huge fan of Shinji Miyazaki's work, the composer for the anime. So I don't really care for them replacing them with their own original score,
Do they
honestly.
change this stuff? 'cause they
I
don't
forget,
think the
though.
kids will like it or something?
I forget though.
or-
Did they really change
Is it to
this?
do with? I think it's to do with licensing issue.
Okay. Regarding the
But
score,
the anime itself kept the original score.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the Pokédex speaking. Why?
and from what I can recall,
Oh, that's an interesting thing too. From what I can tell, this is actually a 4Kids edition. In the
Let me
original
guess, the
short,
original did not have any narration at all.
nope. From what I can tell, no. So
And-
this is
Which
once
would
again,
make which would make sense. There's almost no dialogue, so it's only mostly pantomime.
which
this is
is
the classic case of 4Kids underestimating the intelligence of children. basically.
well, okay. If I
Go
may,
ahead, Shira, go ahead.
It's
Go-
not even
I
full
was-
kids.
whatever.
In Sailor Moon, in the original 90s dub, when Luna starts following Usagi around, she doesn't
mean
speak
Serena?
at all. No, I know what I said. And,
Holy shit.
In the dub, Luna
Aw.
actually has an inner monologue.
Nightmare Fuel. Anyway,
Yes,
go ahead,
Jova.
Jova. Go ahead.
Anyway, to give him credit, when it comes to the actual speaking here, it is warranted because it's a Pokedex and actually does document how Pokemon behave here. It's not so much, saying, hey, this is going on, you need to know, you're dumb. When the Pokedex does speak up in this, it's actually describing Pokemon natures. It's more warranted there, and I'm kind of surprised Japan didn't do it too, considering how they handled their dub of Transformers Gen 1, which had a narrator pretty much narrate everything going on to the kids that they were blind, but I digress. Here, this is one of the parts where the Pokedex speaking thing
So yeah, this
does
is
not
Psyduck.
bug me.
Psyduck needs the-
once again, Missy Psyduck is a fucking.
Also, Togepi is fucking annoying.
Oh
Yeah.
god, Togepi. I like the original Pokemon anime, but seriously, screw Togepi for ignoring Ash, the guy who actually did hatch him.
I know that this whole purpose they introduced it was for marketing towards Gen 2, but guys, it's a bad marketing if I ever saw one.
Not just that, too. It's for the sake of oh god. Okay, everybody. For some reason that still baffles me to this day, these are the transitions of the short.
It's like the Inspector
And-
Gadget movie.
And,
Except the Inspector Gadget ones were annoying. These are just.
and I don't know
What?
if, and I don't even know if it's just me, but some of those transitions gave me nightmares as a kid. Granted, I was like 4 or 5 at the time.
Snowball. The days were just a normal type.
Now he's a fairy
Also,
type.
looking at the intro for this, everything's coming back to me now.
Now we got
and I'm
Cubone.
horrified.
It's all coming back to
Hey,
me
Cubone.
now.
Right. Because of course.
Raichu exists.
Wow,
everyone.
Why do we
Raichu!
have to have the
Oh my
ass-
god, Raichu
because of
actually
course,
speaks.
We
Hey,
need
Meryl.
to. We need to have the obligatory rivalry between Pikachu and Raichu every thought episode.
Well, remember, Tio, back in the day, Raichu was actually considered a good thing back in this gen.
Yeah.
And hey, at least he's finally getting love again in Gen 7.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
jeez, not again.
You
It's a
woke the
balancing
baby.
Which actually, yeah, connecting what I did before, that's actually a good question. Why did they make Snowball a fairy type? It
Because
is anything but.
Because
Yeah.
the irony, Tio, he evolves into a tough, gruff type, but he's also a fairy type, which shows that fairies can be tough, yo.
Yes, Pikachu, roll that diplomacy check.
And this is why Pikachu is the mascot.
Funny.
A good example for the baby.
And Togepi's bored, so bored, he or she or
And he do those weird
trying to leave
shit.
the movie. Trying to leave the movie.
Ask me what it means.
Trust me, these transitions get pretty creepy.
Magikarp, what? Also,
Why?
Magikarp does not learn bubble. What's his name?
Bubble beam.
Like
Yeah.
seriously.
I think you can. I forget.
Teo, at this point, it's
Why?
pointless.
I
You could
know.
go on
Okay,
all
okay.
fours.
To be fair, you can actually teach a Magikarp Bubble Beam with a TM. Although
No,
first,
Joe, I checked. They do the only moves that they learn, I think, are the ones tied to friendship.
Also,
Really?
I know we're running on cartoon logic here, but considering how much those two, weigh, that shouldn't have happened.
Not to
Yeah.
mention, Joe, but when this particular short was made, the only moves that Magikarp had were Splash and Tackle.
Zero, you're
I'm trying to remember if
expecting
you could teach
from
him, but yeah,
Pokemon.
Tio does have a point. Which
Yes, I am analyzing this.
I
Fucking
am
Togepi.
Dwibs. Dwibs. It's to show how we've aged and matured. Of
Please
course, we're going to
close your
analyze this.
mouth. I don't want to see that.
Close
I'm
your
sure
mouth when
four
you yawn.
artists would be proud.
Kunihiko Yuriyama, why? Why?
Which is interesting because Kunihiko Yukiyama, he directed all the Pokemon films from the first movie up until the Ash, the retelling of the first few Pokemon episodes last year. The one coming out this year, apparently, he's not directing.
Huh.
What the
By
fuck
the way,
are you
was
doing?
was
Maybe that
last
means we
one
can
their
finally have a
equivalent to
movie
dick
that's
measuring
good.
contest?
Probably.
We'll have to see.
Well, hey, I mean, go with the fact that the
What
anime
an
and the
idiot.
games are actually changing up
My
the
problem with
status
this
quo.
short
Sure.
is just that. My problem with this short is that this is basically 20 minutes of Pokemon
Not really
bickering at
good.
each other. That's
Well,
literally
I
it.
give you credit to both, Pedro. At least something is happening. We're gonna get a point later on where we're gonna be. I forgot how much, but how long in a segment that it will feel like it will not end about Charizard being stuck in a tube. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
here's one of the better
so-
parts of this short because we get a nice song to go with it. And hey, this actually is.
Yes, this includes a Christina Aguilera song called "Catch Me If You Can."
I'm gonna be quite honest. Why not have just made this a movie about maybe the Pokemon Olympics for the short or something? Because essentially that's what we've got going here.
This was back when Christina Aguilera was still
Was
relevant. and
popular, yeah.
For some reason, people thought she was
Electro-
So how do we start off the race by having an Electrode commit suicide? Go!
brilliant.
Why? Oh, it's okay, guys.
I
smiling,
survived.
therefore it's
How
fine.
How can I say about the rest of the Pokemon?
How does that work? I don't even know.
Well, remember, Tio, the way self-destruct works is that he gets down to 1 HP.
Meryl, you're an idiot. Also, yeah, I remember we got to the point where the Pokemon Origins miniseries had to retcon a plot point of Gold and Silver, where Lance actually frees the Electrodes instead of having Gold saying, "Oh, you have to kill them."
I know.
He's
Right?
going backwards.
Yeah, this.
But
fucking
heck, Goldie!
That's
That,
Play.
shouldn't this be considered cheating?
Yeah.
Why are you letting Goldeen interfere?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, like this is that was bullcrap. Okay.
And
Let me guess, he's already there.
2-1.
Of
Yeah.
course.
No,
Again, the only reason he lost was because he got screwed over by a Goldie.
So,
Hey, Valor wants
all right. So
something.
apparently the Pokemon have no sense of fair play.
No.
and execute an Oddish.
Why?
Because
why,
of course.
Why?
And then someone performs Flamethrower.
Why? Why?
Eh.
Kunihiko? Why?
So now what?
They're still
So now
fighting for their turf.
more bickering for.
Oh, there you go.
And they nearly killed Togepi.
I get that I get that the whole
No.
point of this is to learn that we need to all work together because friendship and shit.
We're not to that point yet, Pedro.
Electrocuting
Oh
babies
shit!
is funny.
It's fucking on.
And then Pikachu pretty much electrocutes
I never-
Raichu
I
into
never
submission
got
because at this point Pikachu is pretty much the Pikachu god. All
I
because
never
of that
understood this.
accident and that.
What are they doing?
Gotta go fast.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Pokedex.
If this is a race, then why are they?
The Roadrunner.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
don't
right.
understand this. If this is a race, why do they have their cheeks together? What's the?
That's how
the-
they race.
I think I get it. It's be,
Technically interactive.
I think I can get this way. The Pokedex does mention how when a Pikachu and a Raichu get connected by their cheeks, then they're pretty much engaged in an altercation. Essentially, when they're together like that, they'll be fast. Basically, it's about of trying to push the other off its feet here.
Also, considering, their current state, when they were running up that waterfall, everything in that pond should have just, fried.
Nicholas. Dugtrius.
What the fuck?
Oh, hey,
yeah,
now.
Team Rocket also
Yeah.
put
So
their
back
Pokemon
when
here.
Arbok and Weezing were actually Pokemon of the Team Rocket.
Also,
They remember that in Gen 5, Ash encounters some of them. It doesn't recognize the species.
Also, after watching pretty much mine for the past 10 minutes, having a talking Pokemon now is
Weird.
Oh, hey,
Why?
Farfetch'd. You're only available in Pokemon Go in Japan for some reason.
Also,
that
never seen the point of that Pokemon.
Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee now.
Yeah, there we go.
And they were killed by the mascot and the mascot's older brother.
Uh,
Younger.
How sad.
And now,
Holy fucking stop this! Like, was
Not just
was
that,
the short 5 minutes too short? So you had to add these things in?
Oh boy, I think
shipped
we're
these things
done
out.
with this. Yeah, remember,
Oh,
Ash's
goody, this part.
Pokemon was up. Oh, go.
oh great, they pissed off Charizard. Now it's
And as you remember, Ash's Charizard is a fucking annoying cunt.
Yeah.
Until the Orange Island saga.
Who I didn't know until, Smash was actually only, 5 foot tall.
Wait, you... Oh, right, yeah. He's, pretty big. Then again, I guess we can assume he got
5
older.
foot tall, 5 foot tall is really short.
Oh,
Oh,
shit,
no.
that was
And
Normax.
they're dead.
Rest in peace, Pikachu.
I mean,
and Ryan.
Snorlax literally weighs tons, so they
Timmy-
should be dead.
To be fair, by that
We're
logic...
putting on cartoony logic, so we're fine.
To be fair, by that logic, essentially any Pokemon who you perform Body Slam on would be dead.
Yeah.
Especially considering Snorlax's Z move.
It's a cartoon just for
There
orphans.
we go.
And because Charizard
Oh,
and Lucario is
boy.
going,
Yeah.
they're pulling a moment from that Winnie the Pooh movie.
Yeah, now sit comfortable, people, because pretty much from this point onward, the show will be about just getting him out of there. He's gonna be annoying, painful, and slow as molasses.
But they'll want you to cry about it.
I don't care.
Oh god.
Right?
This is where they start to get scary with the transitions.
Their
Um,
eyes.
Remind me
this
how
one's even
to...
lazy. There's literally no animation here.
Exterminate.
You're just cutting to screenshots. It's
How
lazy.
do Magnemite eat again? Because it looked like they're trying to eat the cameraman.
I actually never tried with the Pokemon Me application.
Okay, pull.
Yeah, I'm sure that will work. Onyx, you're big as fuck. You should not pull that off
Again-
from your mouth.
Again, too. Fortunately, we're operating on cartoon logic,
Hey.
so it's gonna work.
You're telling me that no Pokemon there knows how to use Rock Smash? That's obviously what
What?
you do in a case like this.
Yeah, not just you will be faster in demolishing the thing.
Not just that, but Onyx should be able to do this on his own.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wow.
you're...
It's contrivance is what it
Why are
is.
they laughing?
because we need the power of teamwork, guys.
Charizard is doomed to stay there for the rest of his life. Oh, okay, never mind.
Remember, this isn't played for laughs, Pedro.
No, I know, but you just said they were laughing earlier.
Yeah, alright, what are you on about?
That's exactly my point. I mean,
Please don't be dicks.
This is truly one of the most
Because we are
heartfelt...
Pokemon heroes.
Truly one of the most heartfelt speeches ever heard since
And
the
Raichu
King's
is
speech.
translating.
and now they just stopped being dicks for absolutely no reason.
Oh,
Also,
except for
what has
Cubone.
Cubone done? Yeah,
Wait.
Cubone has done nothing in a rivalry.
Wait,
well, remember,
hold on,
they're
hold
gonna
on, let's
explain
listen.
now. They're
Yeah.
gonna explain now, actually. So. Because of his nature.
Because,
Yeah.
of course, he's the lone wolf archetype.
Because he's a little edgelord.
Yes.
Admittedly, considering the nature of a Cubone, which the short does explain eventually, there we go. Oh, you know, in the part where it has to eat its own mother and wear his mother's skull.
Yeah.
However, that's completely irrelevant because he's literally about to start helping them now. So, yeah. Never
He's,
mind.
Oh,
We literally bothered to establish a character trait only to contradict it.
You know, I just have this to say.
Brilliant writing.
I just have this to say. If Cubone's such a loner, why was he hanging out with the dick Pokemon then?
That's a
Yeah.
good question, Joe. The answer is Kunio Koyama has no idea how Pokemon works, apparently.
Oh,
And it's
finally.
free.
How tight is that?
Vibe side that
Michael
would be
blasting off
Good
again.
riddance.
And he just pulled a bum out of his
And
ass.
Ash, sorry, Meowth's now Bomberman.
yes.
I don't know the
That
Bomberman
my
theme, so I can't.
ass.
Boy, Charizard's got a very hard rear end to not have felt anything from a bomb exploding underneath him.
Again, we're operating on cartoon logic, so we're fine. See, even he's all black and ash, like in a Looney Tunes cartoon. So
To be fair, in this instance, Meowth didn't deserve anything that happened to him.
Oh, sure. You think a member of Team Rocket doesn't deserve anything happening to them? Wait till you see Pokemon Heroes.
Ugh.
Like, god damn.
And now the tire tracks.
Did you see Tail? The more,
Oh god, no, Jigglypuff, apart!
notice how one of them has his eyes closed. There you go.
Before he falls asleep.
Actually, that does make me wonder, couldn't a Jigglypuff make another Jigglypuff fall asleep?
The animators tell us.
And now the Pokédex is literally going to spell out the moral for us.
Because we need one, apparently.
I forgot there was a moral.
Toys.
See, this is exactly one of my point with the Pokédex, Java. They use the Pokédex to literally spell out the moral. There you go. Oh, never mind.
Don't you see?
It was before this.
You see, guys, the actual real thing for this is that this is a brochure. Take your Pokemon on vacation here.
Yeah. So yeah, the moral is work together instead of against each other.
Anyway, I will say this though. Again, one thing that does show that changes in the team has helped is that with the anime, believe it or not, as of Gen 7, Jigglypuff finally gets its own actions turned on its own, where basically it's the one that gets marker drawn on it instead.
Also, I wonder what Ash and everyone else was doing during all
But
this.
remember, they're off screen. So they're as of now, they're
Doing their own
non-existent.
shit.
Well, at least they're not dying off screen.
They went for a Starbucks.
Yes.
So yeah, what did we learn? Again, we learned that teamwork and friendship and all that shit.
And Charizard is an idiot.
Again, personal space, Pikachu.
Yes,
I'm gonna say no.
Yes, faceless Ash.
All right, everybody. So that was the Pikachu short. It was all
I mean,
right, I guess.
for back in my childhood, this was a
Back in my
blast
day.
to watch. I'll admit nowadays, though, it's definitely I mean, it's not terrible, and it's not like it teaches the kids a bad thing anyway. It's harmless, and I guess can teach kids a good moral. I will say, though, it's not as entertaining to me as it used to be. However, it's still better than Pikachu's Rescue.
It doesn't do it could have done a better job of that, though.
Yeah.
For example, that whole
Although-
race thing that could have deleted for more character development. But
Although I wonder, Pedro, do you prefer the moral of this one or the moral of the actual movie this is attached to?
we'll get. Anyway,
Well, this one because especially in later generations, teamwork is actually important.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so, I won't fault it for teaching this moral. It's not as exciting as it used to be to me, but it's fine. And it was
do you
the
have anything
first.
to add, Shiroi?
Not particularly.
Okay then.
How about those
All right, so
transitions, Jiroi?
All right, everybody. So that was
No,
the
thank
Pikachu
you.
short.
Let's just say a certain other show has less intrusive and more charming transitions.
Yeah,
And I'll-
Pokemon
Alright,
Sun and
everybody.
Moon.
All right, what's next, Pedro?
All right, everybody. Next, I'm going to ask everybody in the audience to remove their Pokemon First Movie DVD and put in your Mewtwo Returns DVD. Why? Because it's a special feature in that DVD that I want us to check out. If you
Alright,
don't own,
this
if you,
was
if you
on
don't own the
YouTube.
Mewtwo Returns DVD, don't worry. You can easily find this on the internet.
Because someone thought it was a good idea to, a segment from the first Pokemon movie. Let's not include that in the DVD of the first Pokemon movie. Let's include that in the DVD of Mewtwo Returns.
To be fair to Jova, the Mewtwo Returns DVD came out after the first movie DVD, so I guess. See, because from what I can tell, apparently 4Kids dubbed the whole origin thingy, but they then cut it. And they threw in the uncut version for shits and giggles in the Mewtwo Returns
reminds
DVD.
me
Oh,
of-
is it the uncut version we're watching first?
Yes, basically, everybody, put in your Mewtwo Returns DVD, go to the special features, and you'll see see the origin Mewtwo. It's like 10 minutes. It's the uncut version of the backstory of the first movie. Basically, this is the Red Kunihiku's original vision, untainted by 4Kids. However, it is dubbed by them still. So don't worry, guys.
There's
It's
an apt comparison I have in mind for this, but I'll mention it after we start this.
So we're watching the uncut one first.
Yes, just
You
so we
should be
can
seeing
then
a black screen before the actual thing starts.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click.
Bit of a fun fact, actually. The first 3 volumes of Yu-Gi-Oh! On DVD have English dubs that include swearing in them, completely uncut, with the same 4Kids voice actors. So, here's my theory. They have the 4Kids voice actors dub it completely, and then they cut out the nasty bits.
Okay, Shira, you probably remember this particular beginning of the movie.
Yes, I remember this.
You know, being
Okay,
a part
so
of the
what-
freaking movie, but again,
This of course is telling the history of how the scientists created Mewtwo. Since the original version was 2 minutes and 21 seconds, this version is 10 minutes and 23 seconds. So you're probably wondering, where the hell did all those other 8 minutes went? Well, we're about to find out.
Also, if I recall correctly, they mentioned specifically that they found it in South America.
And how they're working for a certain...
Now we're establishing actual real world geography in the Pokemon world. Guys, this is confusing.
This is another alteration that they made because in Gen 1, Mewtwo was created in Cinnabar Island's lab by Blaine's team.
Yeah.
I'm not quite...
By this point in the anime, they hadn't got to Cinnabar
Which
Island
they
yet.
used it to connect the fact, imply the fact that Blaine was part of Team Rocket and then defected.
Hi there,
Yeah.
suckers! I'll see you in Pokemon Snap! Like, they literally just saw Mew's shadow. Oh, but thank goodness Mew just happened to leave behind
Praise the dome!
Thank goodness Mew just happened to leave behind an eyebrow. No, that's literally his eyebrow.
And you can clone it from that.
Oh, okay. So the basic gist of it is the scientist in charge of this project thinks that by cloning a Pokemon for the first time, he'll be able to also unlock the secrets to creating life itself. Why? You'll see.
Radioactive eyebrow.
Welcome to the X-Files.
Ah, yes. Remember when Mew was supposed to be the ultimate Pokemon of all? Gen 1.
Don't get me started on that, Jova. Like, every new generation introduced this new fairy.
Pokemon is a retcon nightmare. We all know this.
Yeah.
Although as of Gen 7, they've actually tied things more better together. But I'll explain that when we actually get to Gen 7. Because to explain that would take us way too long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the part that's new.
Hi, prepubescent
Yeah.
Dan
Who
Green.
voices Baby Mewtwo?
I think it's Philip Barley as well. By all means, let's try and see if we
What
can
about
find
the
out.
accent of the scientists?
Okay, everybody. So in this uncut version, we actually see Mewtwo dreaming while he's being created, basically. And he gets the position by this little girl. Don't worry, we're gonna explain who this little girl
Here we
is.
are, the uncut story of Mewtwo's origin. Just go look.
Are you an angel?
Teo,
Yes,
please.
I know, Corner. Yeah.
Young Mewtwo has no voice actor.
No one credited, okay.
I'm gonna assume it's probably Philip Barley doing some kind of younger voice. I don't know.
So, yeah, interestingly enough,
Mewtwo
the
was
movie,
freaking
despite-
Shadow.
Yeah, no, despite being about, supposedly Pokemon, the movie actually tackles an interesting, mature tone in a sense of seen from a perspective of Pokemon, but what is humanity and what humanity represents to a clone? Does it can be compared to an actual person, or it's his own thing? Whereas is there a line to be crossed or not? These are things that would actually be interesting. Too bad that the movie itself barely scratches these. Also, these nose, goddamn
Also, it turns out that there are other clones being birthed here. You see a baby Charmander, a baby Bulbasaur,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is also going to explain
And-
something else in the movie to come.
And it's
but
a
we'll
shame
get that.
because by movie 3 you can tell that the writer, whoever wrote these movies, actually wanted to tell this type of mature content, but I guess all the other times his brain just farted for no reason.
If I will give Pokemon movies 1 and 3 credit, there are good stories to tell there. Pokemon 3 actually got to tell its good story. Pokemon 1 got attacked by executive mandates.
And
Thanks,
2 was just
Nintendo.
bland. And 2 was just bland, and it's.
Well, okay, to be
Alright,
fair
but-
to you, that one's actually Game
Yeah,
Freak
hold
to
on, it's
blame.
important. for science.
To bring
Hatchet's
back
up
their
for science.
daughter.
That's the original version. He just wanted to clone Mewtwo because science, play as God and shit. What happened here is that little girl that Mewtwo's seeing in her dreams, that's the scientist's daughter. And his big dream is to one day be able to create a clone of her daughter so he can bring her back to life.
Memories
So
and
essentially,
all.
scientist delusion still, but for more personal
Actually,
purposes. We've seen this type of story in other media, but it's still very solid in its concept.
Pedro, was the same writer for this also the same writer for Pokemon Free?
Hideki Sanoda wrote most of the Pokemon movies.
Yeah, isn't it like a single team doing all of all the movies?
Because when you get
Yeah,
down
it
to
is.
it, Pokemon Free is sort of similar to this, dealing with the death of someone trying to bring them back through less than conventional means, let's
And
just
yes,
say.
as we mentioned, they work for Giovanni for Team Rocket.
Yeah, this is
Yes,
what the
that's
Team
another
Rocket
thing they actually
scientist-
mentioned here that was not mentioned in the cut version.
Which makes sense because Giovanni wants to weaponize
Well, actually, no, Joe. Actually,
an
no,
army
Joe.
of clones.
Even in the cut version at the beginning that we got earlier, he literally said Giovanni is financing the expedition. So they did say that at least.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Anyway, yeah. Basically, what the little girl is trying to explain to Mewtwo is that just because you're a clone, that doesn't mean you can't be your own individual and blah blah blah. Your value is as worthy as any other person. All that shit.
Oh, I thought they were going to make that the moon for a second.
Also, praise the sun.
Praise
Oh,
the sun god Ra. Okay,
Yes.
so it's just teaching.
The wind.
Is this
Nice.
It's gone from a Mewtwo origin story to teaching children the weather.
Well, honestly, Dibs, he is essentially a baby who knows little to nothing
remember,
about how
Glibs,
it works.
also, it's connected to the real original Mewtwo, being that it's a sort of a copy of I forgot the
there's
name.
the moon.
Gaigi from Earthbound Beginnings. Remember, that case functioned exactly the same. An alien which had a childlike behavior. But
All right, and now that he's about to be woken up by the scientists, that means that all the it's kind of implied that those clones die basically
because of deterioration, because cloning does that. But how will we tell the Jackal about this? Well, sorry, Jova, this was bound to happen. Come on.
Tio,
They
they
just been born and now they have to.
And there we go. Even the little girl starts disappearing.
they made
so there you
Ben.
go. The
they-
scientist's plans to clone the little girl failed as well.
Tio, they made Ben Riley the Jackal. At this point, the Clone Saga is just an abomination that ruins everything it touches.
Pretty much. But yeah, the little girl died as well.
Well, she technically was already dead. She was just apparently what was
But
left
the
of her.
clone of the
was-
little girl died. There you
So
go.
yeah, before she dies, she once again reinforces Mewtwo what she's been saying.
And not wipe away your memory. Remember that bit, please.
But
Yes,
can you please act better next time?
So yeah, the
We'll
moral
get
that
Dan
Mewtwo's
Green
supposed to
then.
get. So yeah, Mewtwo of course learns from this that he should be allowed to live his own life and be himself, despite the fact that he's in a freak of nature.
Yeah, that's the problem with. That's another problem with 4Kids. I gotta say, when 4Kids have really weird modes when it comes to their acting. Sometimes they're overly hammy. Sometimes they sound natural. And other times they're flatter than a wooden table.
I think that's Amy Palin doing the girl.
I'm not sure.
Again,
Hang on, let me. I'll consult the
So there you go. This further explains much better why Mewtwo revolts in the lab at the beginning of the movie.
I guess I can understand.
Because remember, at the beginning of the movie, the scientists literally tell him that he's nothing but just a fucking science experiment that is a freak of nature, which goes against what his dream tells him. So yeah, it makes this explains a lot better why why Mewtwo
Amber's
revolts.
voiced by Kerry Williams. There we go.
By cutting all of this, 4Kids pretty much cut off a significant amount of depth from the plot.
That depends, though. Was this also cut out in the Japanese release of the movie?
No. This is No. This was all in the original Japanese version, obviously. But I'm talking about in terms of for Western viewers, of course.
Also, surprisingly enough, Mewtwo is the clone that actually manages to be stabilized.
That's because he's much more powerful, obviously.
Yeah, being based on supposedly this mystical Mew being.
You know, the weird thing is that 4Kids always had a tendency of, of course, when stuff was released on TV, having it be cut up. Yet, again, with stuff like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Releases that I mentioned, had them uncut to the point where you actually hear the voice actors say swear words in them. Like...
And these
shit.
make him mature
Shit.
into Philip Barley.
Shit, Pikachu is fucked.
So there you go. All right, everybody. So yeah, this further explains why Mewtwo revolts against the scientists.
That made a
And
hell of a lot more sense than what I was originally shown.
Now,
Yeah.
okay. Now, the sad thing, though, is that the only reason I can see them removing it is because, even with this included, this intro does sadly get contradicted at certain points in the movie. But I'm gonna get to that
does.
when we get to that. Like,
For
yeah.
now, what's
The problem with this movie as a whole, I mean, it didn't even really, before it was cut, it didn't have that much depth in the first place, to be honest.
It
Well,
reeks
well,
the first movie ever for a franchise syndrome, and
Yeah.
I'll go more into
For
depth with
now, what's next, Pedro?
All right, everybody.
The cut
So
version.
yeah, now everybody, we're gonna actually start the actual proper quote-unquote movie.
that. Still not included in the actual movie because DVD release, but I digress.
All right, everybody. So, even though we're all familiar with this version of the opening, let's watch it again just to compare just how much 4Kids completely butchered this.
So you're probably gonna hate us, but put back in your Pokemon First Movie DVD.
And go to the special features and pick the story of Mewtwo's origin. All right, everybody. So now I hope you're ready now. So sorry,
Usual,
Zero is
there's
using
a
a black
big screen.
screen.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
screen before.
Usual procedure. So 3, 2, 1, click.
Here we
So let's take a
go.
look at how. Remember, this was the version all Western audiences originally got in
Yeah.
theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't-
can, I wouldn't be surprised. For a second there, I thought they were just going to like fast forward the whole thing, so it's all being fast forwarded on the VHS. Just like,
And that's it.
yeah, even
Ha ha ha! Mew, the most powerful Pokemon ever. Dio,
Yeah.
did you
Yeah,
hear?
we've gone for this. We've gone for this. Redcon
yeah,
Nightmare.
yeah. Anyway, to
Well,
be
even
honest,
in the context of Gen 1, but go
doesn't
ahead.
even
Yeah.
seem like
Worse than the Zelda series with the...
Hold
doesn't even
on,
seem-
go on.
the intro
Yes,
doesn't
Lou?
even the intro doesn't even sound like it's been changed all that much. The narration's still impenetrable to anyone who isn't a Pokemon fan.
Well,
Oh, but it's okay, Dwebs. You know why? Because on the Pokemon, the first movie DVD, there's a little extra that 4Kids made called Ash's Journey that literally basically explains the Pokemon world for new. It's basically a little, here's what Pokemon is about thing. You have to wonder, why couldn't that also have been a thing that they added in for the original theatrical run? That would have helped newcomers.
trying to remember what that was. I mean, it definitely was not
No,
a
it
thing.
wasn't.
It definitely was not a
I
thing
thi-
on the VHS version, but I'm wondering.
It wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't. However, fortunately, they started doing it in the following movies. Because you know how the movies after this always start with this is the Pokemon world and the Pokemon are. That was also with a Brock narration, you know the one.
It was a bit too late considering the law of diminishing returns happened to this film series pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good for the silver screen, but afterwards.
So yeah, like Dwebs was saying earlier, the intro is pretty much just the intro, and that's it.
Although I have to say that the close up to that also was actually sped up. I could have understood.
Yeah, it's like they literally fast forwarded the thing.
So yeah, this particular intro got incredibly destroyed, plot-wise,
Now-
by 4Kids.
Now,
It was
okay.
a classic case of 4Kids think, oh no, kids can't handle death. I mean, it's not like Don Bluth movies were popular back in the day.
Or Disney,
So-
with all the dead
Now-
parents.
Wait, that was it?
Yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, are you telling me that the start
Well,
is...
it's 4Kids mutual MO, Joe, but remember, this is the guys who literally censor fucking guns and
No,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Pedro. I get that, but that means that the opening to the movie is going to be incredibly lopsided because, well, from the way this short just ended, we're pretty much just going to go to a back-to-back scene of it in the same lab to the point where what was even the point
Yeah.
of splitting this from the movie?
I have no idea, Jova.
Like, I pity the kids
Anyway.
who were introduced to this movie using the DVD, and God
From
help
what
you,
I
the
can
Blu-ray
tell,
version.
from what I can tell, from what I can tell, in the original Japanese version of the movie, everything is just the Mewtwo origin thing is just part of the movie, and that's it. But 4Kids apparently decided to split things off. I don't know.
Now, I
Anyway,
hate
that's
now I hate to say it though. I might see why 4Kids cut out the part with the girl, because when we get to it, the movie itself as a whole is gonna forget about her. I mean, look, I don't want to
Yeah,
defend.
but
Yeah,
come
it
on,
is.
it's 4Kids. That probably isn't
Well-
the reason that they cut out most of this.
To give credit, Shiroi, 4Kids did sometimes make some smart moves, and trust me, I do not say this lightly. Like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what, Shiroi? How about I let you
This
see?
movie that they corrected. They actually tried to foreshadow the controversial ending.
Yeah, so, Shiroi, you know what, Shiroi? How about we just let you see for yourself, and you'll see where I'm coming from. It's time for the
Yeah.
main event.
Yeah, it's time for the main event, everybody. Basically, put up the movie, the actual movie, which will start with the Kids WB logo. Start at 0 with the black screen right before that logo, and you should be in sync with us. So, is everybody ready? So, 3,
Good.
2, 1, click.
Sorry, everyone. This is.
Ow! Dang it, 4Kids logo. You don't need to hit me like that.
Actually, that's Kids WB, not 4Kids.
WB.
Okay, dang it, Warner. Dang it, Ted Turner. Warner Brothers.
And the
God
Nintendo
dang it.
logo.
Because of course.
So yeah,
Boy.
the actual movie itself, and trust me, if you go to the internet and just download any generic DVD rip of this movie, it always starts like this without the origin
Yeah.
bit, because
Ugh.
again, the origin bit is considered an extra.
Jesus
on the DVD.
Christ. That WB logo must have hit me really hard.
Presents.
That's why That's why we had to pull some extra loops for this commentary because 4Kids is stupid. And now it's with a pretentious narration.
Ooh.
It's Pokemon.
To be fair, the Japanese version did have a pretentious narration too.
You know, The Land Before Time also opened with bubbles. Unfortunately, this is nowhere near as good.
What the fuck? Help me, please.
In the beginning, there was Pokemon.
What does this have to do with anything?
It's a little
Our students
lead
had
up
a
into the
field day
movie.
with this one, I think.
Ah,
Because this is what I want to see in my Pokemon movie: cheap life philosophy.
Now, I'm trying to remember. I think this is the same score as the original one. From what I can recall, the movies never messed with the scores. It was just the
Actually,
well,
they did.
a few of them did, yeah.
They did, Jova. I actually have the American score because they even made an album for it and everything. They replaced the original Japanese score, which again, it
what
pains
score?
me because I love the musical score, the original musical score of this movie, the orchestral score by Shinji Miyazaki, the composer of the Pokemon anime, was replaced in the American version with 4Kids' own composer. I forgot it. Let me get his name real quick.
Ed Goldfarb, I think it is, or actually, I think he's doing the. I think he did the modern day films.
Again, remember, Jova, they also replaced the original musical score for Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime, so this is common for 4Kids.
Okay, that was
Although-
a thing.
Although for the anime they didn't do it until like with black and white, I think.
Oh, here you go. The American score of Pokemon, the first movie, was composed by Ralph Chuckett, John Lee Sauer, John Lofer, and Manny Corral. All these weird names.
What the fuck is he hearing?
Scientist speaking.
So there you go. So you go, Shiro. Now that you've seen the uncut version that 4Kids didn't want you to see, now this is going to be a lot more sensical. This revolt that we're about to see. Yeah, what he means by that, what he means by that is that Mewtwo speaks to others telepathically.
He's a psychic type.
Yeah. They probably could have made that line a bit more clear. Let me hear the telepathy from his mind or something like that. It could have.
Yeah.
Really, really, sir? You just put a 2 in front of its name?
Well, that's where you've been keeping it.
You are.
Because
You're
we
so
humans are
original.
gods.
That
Oops.
sounds like a pretty much a good example of this movie. The end result of an experiment. It would take a bit of working out the kinks.
Yeah, remember.
Who they called for voicing the scientist? That sounds like a chipmunk.
So
Remember, guys. People thought the Pokemon was just going to be a fad that would die in like 3 years.
Ha ha ha.
So yeah, this monologue here now that's about to come makes a lot more sense now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I
You
get it.
ruined my bond to a girl I knew for 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't get it either.
Well, Dwez, at the very least, it provides some extra context for why he refuses to accept his destiny.
Not much, though.
The thing, though, is that essentially he's mad at them because they're treating him like just an experiment. Like, I mean, like I said, the movie itself kind of forgets about the girl existing in the context.
For as flack as I give this movie, one thing I'll give it: the animation is pretty damn good for Pokemon standards. Like, it's definitely a good step up from the animation of the anime.
And, I
Well,
mean...
as a movie, it's bound to have a bigger budget.
Also, yeah, you don't show the little girl disappearing, but you still show Mewtwo killing all the scientists.
Yeah.
Well,
Is there a
How hypocrite of you for kids.
That's the thing too.
No.
For kids, censorship
within
is
the original.
Spielberg's style of censorship, selective censorship.
That's what they mean,
Although-
Dweebs. They cut away a thing that was about death and they still show mass murder because obviously they couldn't cut this.
Hey, Tail, look who it is.
How good timing,
Prison
Giovanni.
Island flash.
This is again a reason why, for this case, I'm gonna argue the reason they got rid of the girl thing was only because it doesn't end up mattering in the context of the story. I mean, 4Kids have actually...
Yeah, hold on. This actually is a good point. What kind of Giovanni has the best timing ever. He just gets the moment Mewtwo wakes up.
Oh, fun fact, actually, this actually
Don't
did...
land a helicopter on a flaming platform, you idiots.
It is Giovanni. He's got it all planned out. Fun fact, actually, this did get tied in with the anime.
Giovanni, how do you know these scientists concerned
Yeah.
just you weren't here and heard the conversation?
Remember, Pedro, he hired the scientist in the first
Not
place.
just that,
I
well,
know, but he
actually.
didn't listen to the conversation between Mewtwo and the scientist. How does he know how to trick him this way? What?
Oh, he doesn't
Not
know
just
that. He's just...
we know that this gets referenced later on in the anime, but at what point supposedly this takes place?
according to
Somewhere
the...
in the Indigo season, somewhere. It's not entirely clear.
If I recall correctly, it's close to the time where Ash is supposed to face him for the gym battle, but he
And
ends up
they-
needing to leave.
We do
And now they're gonna now they're gonna have him cosplay as a Power Ranger.
surprised that this armor never got to be an alternate costume in Smash Bros.
Yeah, look at him. He's a freaking Power Ranger now.
Whatever the hell that means.
Oh, no, I get what he means. It being focused basically means he can channel them a lot better.
Without
So yeah, when you think about it, Giovanni's actually got essentially one of the world's strongest Pokemon, and he legit has him.
So yeah, everybody, those of you who are familiar with the episode where Ash gets
Oh yeah,
his-
that's
gets
right.
the Earth
And now
Badge,
this is actually in his gym. Hi,
Yeah.
Gary.
those of you who are familiar with the episode in the anime where Ash gets the Earth Badge will remember this bit, where Gary is defeated by Mewtwo. So we're about to reference that in a moment. Also, okay, that's a good plus for capturing Tauros, because capturing Tauros in Gen 1 is a fucking nightmare.
So look
not
at
as
that,
much
it
as
was
Chansey,
foreshadowing-
but yeah.
Oh, look at that. It was foreshadowing Gen 6's
I love this detail,
wild
though.
spawns.
I love how Mewtwo literally bends Alakazam's spoons as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That's such a DBZ-like
He
thing
prob-
Yeah.
to do.
I guess he used Protect.
Oh, there we go. I think these are the ones of
Yeah, this is a
Gary.
direct reference to what happens.
There we
in the
go.
anime.
Yeah, see,
he's right
even
there.
Gary's in shot even.
Yeah.
Because you're the star of the movie, Mewtwo.
you-
Okay. Now this
Your
is a
name's
thing.
on the billing.
Now-
card.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jovan is about to be one of the most stupidest things
Okay.
I've ever seen a villain do in any movie
Okay,
ever.
let me sum this up. And again, this is actually a thing for both English and Japanese scripts, so there's no dubbing to blame here. Giovanni essentially has Mewtwo. Mewtwo is questioning his existence.
Oh, here you go, Jova. Go ahead. Wait,
Listen,
what?
listen.
Exactly.
You said you were
Why-
partners. Why not just court him saying, oh. Okay,
Oh, God.
Giovanni,
Here we
you
go.
essentially have one of the strongest Pokemon in your pocket. Why would you do
You-
this?
You
Because-
fucking dipshit. The whole reason you managed to get him to join your party was because you lied to him. Why aren't you just keeping that lie up?
Like-
Why did he literally said, "Oh, by the way, it turns out you're just a piece of crap tool that is get to use by me." And he didn't think there would be what could possibly go wrong from doing this.
And it is
Again, Pedro.
Giovanni survives this.
Well, yeah. Believe it or not, he does survive this because in
He
the
does survive this,
anime
but
around
in
this
the
time,
anime, yeah.
yeah, and of course Team Rocket are around because
You were saying, Shira?
they are the luckiest.
Yeah,
bastards.
it's like I know you've disagreed with me on this in the past, but it's like again, it's just every story just keeps proving to me that in order for a plot to move forward, characters need to be complete and utter dumbfucks,
which is
at least to a certain degree.
weird because later Pokemon
If
movies.
characters are smart, we don't get a plot.
I disagree because heck,
Yeah,
even
I disagree as well.
Leighton notwithstanding.
well, sure, plenty of franchises have stories without characters needing to be outright
Basically,
idiots for
yeah.
plots to go forward.
No.
Now
Like,
Mewtwo decides,
show me more than 5 series, and then
Now Mewtwo decides, you know what, fuck her. You know what, those few people I met, fuck her, I'm gonna kill everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
and believe it or not, Troy, even Pokemon.
And now finally, the opening title. Go ahead.
Believe it or
Joe.
not, Troy, even Pokemon movies in the future have plots about people being stupid. We have Ace
Yeah,
Attorney who has
Ray and
plots
Ace.
about people being stupid.
Mewtwo strikes.
There's the original Teen Titans show. There's Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I'm
Not
not
just
gonna.
that, Shiroi. Even in terms of movies, I can point you to the entire Kubrickian catalog,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of stuff that doesn't resort to that. I can assure you.
Let me put it like this, Troy. The whole idiot plot.
actually, Jova, have you
And
seen
Pikachu
Star
died.
recently?
Oh no.
Well, I'm talking about Star from what I've seen, but again, that did have plots without people being stupid. The point is, Shiroi, the idiot plot that you're describing, that's a trope for a reason. It's more the exception rather than the rule, thank goodness.
So yeah, Mewtwo for all the problems, of course, is a somewhat engaging character. However, we have to switch back to the free protagonists of the anime, who are about as interesting as loaves of bread.
Now, to give it credit, back in the first gen, they were actually well fleshed out. Like, Brock actually had more to him than just being a gym leader. He was a child of many, had to look after his...
No, his name is Ash Ketchum, not Ash from Pallet Town.
Yeah.
He comes from Pallet Town, Dwibs, the place where heroes start from.
But I thought the Gen 2 would contrast that. So there's Gen 3 and 4
Yeah.
and 5
Also, I
and
have
6
some-
and 7.
You need to concentrate.
Guys. It's established that it turns out these regions are just next door to each other. They just have to do a bit of exploring and let the preteen kid find it.
The geography in this world must be a fucking nightmare.
Thankfully,
Anyway,
not
it
anymore.
is.
Thankfully, not anymore. Thanks to Gen 7. But again, that's Gen 7.
Alright, so this is a cover of the original Pokemon theme. The Gotta Catch 'em All theme.
Also, some promotion for Gen 2 with Donphan.
Yeah, I'll admit, when I first saw this movie, I wasn't exactly aware that Gen 2 was a thing because, see, since the cartridges were the same, I kind of assumed that Gen 2 was just another version of the Gen 1s. Go figure.
Also, poor Ash's Bulbasaur, he never actually got a chance to evolve.
Remember too, he literally does not want to evolve. We had an entire
Yeah.
episode dedicated to that.
Yeah.
I thought that was
forgot
Pikachu
about
Sig.
that.
The
Oh,
anime's
that's
been
right,
going 21
Bulbasaur.
years and Pikachu hasn't evolved yet. In fact, the only thing that's really changed in terms of production is the animation style.
I
And
never
the-
understood
And
this
the
thing
writing.
in
The
anime.
writing
There's-
thankfully got better.
I
Well,
never
mean,
understood
it
this
needed
thing
to
in the
after
anime.
Black and White.
I can understand that for Pikachu because, marketing and all that shit, but why did the anime have this fetish of having Pokemon who do not want to evolve for no reason whatsoever? What's
Also,
did
why
you-
the point
did
of
they
this?
reuse that shot?
Yeah,
Daddy.
that was weird.
I mean, nowadays,
Also,
Oh.
Ash, you have a Pidgeotto. Use fucking type advantage.
Type advantage doesn't exist in this
Um,
in the anime
actually-
as the movie is about to demonstrate.
Actually, Pedro, type advantages do exist in the Pokemon universe.
Oh, yeah?
It's a
Oh, yeah?
constant
Wait a
flip-flop.
couple of seconds then, Jova.
Grand. Okay. They get the type advantages wrong half
Also,
the time. But
Bubble
still.
is a weak-ass attack. How do you defeat a Machamp
And
with
before you
that?
bring
Again, it's like like I just said, yeah, they do have type advantages. You just get them wrong half the time.
Did he just immediately evolve his Machoke to a Machamp right after evolving it to a Machoke? So it's like level 15 or something.
Hey,
Oh,
hang on,
oh,
hang on.
if that was-
Okay, Pedro. I know what you're
Then
going.
explain this to me.
I know what you're gonna say, Pedro, but it's Ash's Pikachu. I mean,
Also, not just
No.
that. Hey, no. Bear with me. Did you just throw 3 Pokemon at the same time?
that's against the rules until Gen
I wasn't
5.
a fig at this point.
Screw the rules. I have money.
Although,
Anyway.
Shocking.
I have not missed Ash's voice at all.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna be incredibly controversial to English-speaking audiences right now. I never cared for Veronica Tiller as Ash, and I honestly think the actress who replaced her is much better.
Tara Strong.
Well, it's a good thing that I never.
Name.
It's a good thing I never cared about Ash as a character. So regardless of a voice, I don't really care.
I'll just say this, Jova, to answer yours.
Tara
thing.
Strong.
Sorry, but no special. I do not allow any
Fine,
special
fine.
treatment. If that matchup just needs to work for all Pokemon, not just whatever the writer feels like.
Look. Honestly, I'm used to this in anime. With them not always following the rules. Like even
Doesn't make it good though.
I didn't say it made it good. What I'm saying is well, thankfully in the later generations they pay more attention to type advantages and type disadvantages.
Well,
Huh.
yeah, but we're not there
Guess
yet.
that's one thing in common with.
Yeah.
For a second, the
One
movie
thought.
fast forward.
Hero, my favorite Pokemon.
This
You like
particular.
Firo? Huh, interesting.
Surprisingly enough, Joe, it's only because of a It's a nostalgia thing from the Pokédex entry. The idea that it could fly for days without tiring.
So yeah, there's this quote-unquote master who has Pokemon spying on people. Gee, I wonder who this guy could be. Anyway,
Also,
this guy that I'm sure nobody can guess who it is, apparently has a Firo with a camera spying on people.
And the
Okay.
Dragonite male guy,
Well, to be fair, I'd have one of those.
which apparently is a dick to Team Rocket and everyone else.
And everyone else, yeah. It ruined their team. Probably.
Well, remember, that's the whole point to be. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of Team Rocket, to be the butt of jokes.
Also, let's say another.
until Gen
opinion that-
5's anime.
Also, let's say another opinion that has been stated multiple times. Dragonite is a terrible first stage evolution design-wise.
Help me, one
we're
Kenobi.
up here.
You're my only hope.
Basically, yeah.
It'll be called the Pokemon Go Fest.
We never see this kind of technology in Pokemon
Yeah,
again
go
until
well, we
generations
promise.
later.
You know what's the interesting part, Jova? Nino Kuni 2 has a concept very similar to that thing with the open, and they actually explain it with an actual proper history of who invented it and everything. So that's
Wait, guys, I missed something in the invitation. Can we start again?
No.
Why would
Again though, I will admit though,
mystery person invite the greatest? He's supposed to be the greatest Pokemon trainer in the world. He's trying to invite the greatest trainers in the world for a party or something like that.
Why pick Ash?
Well, exactly, thanks to him.
Well, here's the thing, guys.
Because protagonist.
Also, well, apparently you can stop Dragonite with the
The
freaking
frying
frying
pan.
pan.
It's an excuse to have Ash in the movie, basically.
I guess at this point Ash was a rising star until we had to come up with a stupid trend that he can win any
By
match
the way,
except
Oh no, the
for...
mystery person is Mewtwo. Who could have
Also,
guessed?
hey, fire that Dragonite. I do
Also,
not think
Rayquaza, they're messing with your territory right now.
Doesn't exist yet.
To be fair, Teal, the movie does explain Rayquaza's living on the moon right now.
Of course it does.
Anyway,
Anyway, I guess to be fair, they don't really try to hint at it as a mystery for Mewtwo because, even in the
That's
not...
the thing, Jova. They had
Okay.
for at least a couple of scenes him hiding in the shadows, so they deliberately wanted to do something like that.
And there's the
necessarily.
original Mew.
Also, can anyone tell me the point of Mew?
Oh, God. Okay.
As hold on. As his way of living. He
that depends, Teo. Are you talking about 4Kids Mew or original Japanese Mew? Because there's a stark difference between the two.
speech at the end.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
I'm going to say this right now. Mew is better in the 4Kids dub. I mean, because in the Japanese one, he is legit a terrible character in the Japanese one.
I can
Yes,
understand
we
your point
get
of view,
it.
Java.
Showing the
How-
same
how-
shots.
I can understand
we'll
that,
get-
Java. However,
We'll get to that when
I
it's
don't
relevant,
know.
Dwibs.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean, Jova, but honestly, I would have preferred if they would have kept it like it was, because at the very least, it would have meant there would be no right side in the conflict. That would make the movie a lot more thought-provoking for children.
Pedro, despite that, there was still a right side in the original Japanese version. See, again, look, here's the thing with
At least it would be an attempt.
It was actually, Pedro.
Don't pretend that even in the Japanese originals, this was ever a really thought-provoking thing in the first place.
If I may, Pedro, the Japanese still expected you to side with Mew. That's the thing. Let me put it this: Japan is very xenophobic and kind of racist. Like, there's a reason their birth rates are down, because they are not accepting of other people.
Yeah, it's another thing.
This is important.
Wait.
This is important. Believe it or not.
How is this the worst storm ever?
Well,
It's
sure.
it's like what channels like Fox News said. Like, it's the worst storm in the last
let's see.
150 years.
Have you seen The Beast from the East?
Have you
Here you
seen Pokemon 2000?
How was after this?
My point exactly.
Pikachu, stop.
And there you go, everybody. Ancient writings tell of a storm that will only spare a few Pokemon, and the Pokemon who manage to survive that storm, their tears will have the power to revive lives. Believe it or not.
That is
Ladies and
foreshadowing.
Mewtwo's arc.
Now,
Also, those shoes, man.
Not just that, Twibs. That was not in the original Japanese script, believe it or not. In the original Japanese script, that ending that we are all thinking about right now happens out of nowhere, and that change in script was 4Kids' attempt at trying to foreshadow the tears thing.
Badly.
this is okay. To give
Well, at
4Kids,
least it was an attempt.
if I'll give 4Kids credit, during their Pokemon
One
era.
kid, a missing person.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nurse Joy is missing.
Even
Even
even a picture of Nurse Joy.
Gee, I wonder where Miss Joy could be.
So
Okay.
essentially, some of these trainers are literally just like, fuck the police, and we're going anyway.
Well, if they have strong enough Pokemon, it makes sense. But yeah, that's an interesting logic. Mewtwo is inviting a bunch of people and then doing some natural selection by having only the strong one arriving the island.
Excuse me, officer.
Yeah.
You cannot arrest someone for swimming in water. That's not how... What?
You can only tell them I told you so.
you know,
Come back here and I'll arrest you. What?
Sorry, Pedro,
Anyway.
I think we can bypass by saying obstructing the law, in a sense, by being posed to not actually go there.
No. They warned them that they shouldn't go, but they never forbid them from doing
Oh,
it.
boy.
It's an enforced order.
Anyway, I'm just gonna say we never see that Harbor Master again, do we?
No.
Like, I mean, she seems to be a main character. Seems like she could have been plucked out of the games if she was nowhere to be seen.
She's
Remind me,
the...
at this point in the anime, do they have Lapras yet?
No.
No.
Anyway,
Ash doesn't even have an Snorlax at this
everybody.
point.
Now Team Rocket helps out as Swedish Vikings.
Vikings.
Oh, but just wait, Pedro.
And this will allow for Brock to make one of the worst
Yeah.
4Kids jokes of all time.
Okay.
Here we go.
let's listen. Hold on, Wiz. Let's listen.
Listen here.
Fuck you.
Outside,
We did it, everybody! The worst, stupidest joke of all time. Good job, 4Kids.
It only works. It only works in one country. Everywhere else is just like.
I don't even get that joke.
Well,
Minnesota
actually,
Vikings joke of their team.
well,
apparently.
if it makes you feel any better, I can't speak for other countries, does it? But the Portuguese dub of this movie changed that line to reference a specific Portuguese village, so it still works in the Portuguese version. I can't speak for.
Okay.
Did they change that line at all in the Italian dub?
He's burped.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't remember. Pedro will probably need to check on my own.
Whatever, doesn't really matter much.
Oh, ha 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 ha.
This is typical 4Kids writing. Like, they love bat puns.
Okay, that was
Forget about
Although, I shudder to think about what the original Japanese version did, because it could be pretty freaking terrible, too. But
Sure.
whatever.
I think my problem with 4Kids puns is that a lot of times they're so easy and cheap. Like, they don't even try to, at the very least, try to provide some kind of clever context for the pun or something like that. It's always the most obvious fishy puns or the shocking puns. It's always the most easy, lazy puns you can
Now,
make.
if
Basically.
it was a s- if
If
it was
I
a show
can-
that kind, if they were dubbing an anime that had that kind of joke that always has those kind of jokes in it in the first place, and it works better. But
I mean, maybe the
I guess
Pokemon
that's-
did have that, but they could have tried better. And we'll give them this. They did have some moments where they actually were clever with the puns, which is, okay, this is the frustrating thing about 4Kids. Okay, we definitely remember them more for their bad stuff, and why wouldn't we? I mean, their bad stuff is what eventually got them on the bad books and got them sued and out of business. But they actually did do some genuinely good things. The problem is that, because of the good stuff they did, anime companies trusted them more, and that's when they got a little too out of control with stuff like Sonic X and One Piece.
yeah, I think I don't think they even want.
What is that,
They
Dibs?
were really out, and they were really out of their depth.
Let's not forget also how they completely raped One Piece, the anime, in the anus.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
And that's saying something considering Pedro doesn't like the anime.
Funimation, however, Funimation rescued it from their hands.
And I will say this, I generally do like 4Kids' dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That is one of their best. Like, the music is actually an improvement, the voices work, and they have good jokes. It's the frustrating thing about 4Kids. They can do good, but their priorities could be pretty out of whack. Oh, hi, Mew.
Yeah, that's another thing about Mew.
There were times where the jokes in
They're
GX
just here being adorable.
kind of foreshadowing the
every
abridged
BRB.
series.
Yeah, that's another thing about Mew. Like, don't get me a final speech aside. We'll get to that later. Mew is just generic, adorable Pokemon. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Why, considering his design, it makes sense to make him like that. It's just that a lot of moments with Mew just revolve around get it, he's adorable. Like, and they don't even try to, provide some kind of other thing, any other character trait for him. Again, final speech aside.
Oh yeah, the invitation survived, that trip.
Yeah.
How?
No, he would have lost that. Fuck you.
Not just that, it's electronic stuff at the end of the 90s. It should have.
Apparently then. So yeah, Brock has the uncanny ability to recognize
Yeah, he does.
specific nurse joys from specific.
Thanks
Yeah,
to
this
his perverted.
Yeah, this is
mask.
consistent with the anime. They even have an entire joke routine in the anime about this. Yeah.
Considering a few 4Kids actors have a habit of sounding really flat in their delivery, I'm not sure whether that's intentional, her being hypnotized and flat, or if it's, I don't even.
Thanks, Weezing.
Another big
All
problem
right, I'm
that
back.
another big problem that this movie has, and I know that this complaint has been thrown around a lot, but again,
If it's the
there's a
big
good reason
one,
why.
wait till it's on screen.
No, it's not a big one. And don't get me wrong, I am aware that this complaint has been. Yeah, this is just Mew being generically adorable. Trust me, I'm
Anyway, the complaint.
I know this is a cliche complaint from a lot of people, but there's a good reason why it's so used, because it's a genuine complaint, if you ask me. The movie doesn't even try to make itself even remotely newbie friendly, and I get that this is this is meant to be like an extension of the anime. I get that.
It's no excuse still, because Pokemon 3 actually does go out of its way to be a better introduction. Sorry.
I was about to use that movie as an example. Yeah, and the Lucario movie also stands on its own.
Yeah.
And the Yokai Watch movies stand on their own. So I think they could have put a bit more effort into making this particular movie, considering it's the first one, newbie friendly a bit more.
Apparently,
Go ahead. Liz.
Apparently, even the makers agree, because when you get down to it, almost every Pokemon movie like this starts with a cool little short opening explaining.
It was probably a reaction to the criticisms of this one. Probably.
Pedro, it's funny you mentioned Lucario. One of the few times that 4Kids actually tried to introduce stuff to newcomers was the last film they did.
What? Pikachu, I Choose You?
No. Lucario and the Mystery of Mew was the last time 4Kids dubbed a Pokemon movie.
After that was the Pokemon Company.
Huh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, considering the Lucario movie is the one that best uses Ash, in my opinion, it was at the very least a good farewell for Veronica Taylor, I guess.
And I did see another good.
Remember in that one, Veronica Taylor's pulling double duty. She was Ash and May.
May. In my opinion, possibly
Oh
the
yeah,
best.
about this. Now Team Rocket will be will have their entire storyline separate to the other characters and will practically not interact with them until the very end of the movie.
Not just that, too. The entire purpose of Team Rocket is to be there so that we have someone watching the records of the scientists so we can get some more exposition out of the way.
Yeah.
His plan's all way.
Yeah, I get it.
Togepi.
Fucking Togepi.
Will you just evolve already so you can actually be useful?
And of course, these other trainers are all fucking dicks. Because
Well, the
everybody...
thing is, they did prove themselves kind of useful in the
I
anime,
know.
but no one ever caught the fuck on, did they?
I know, Shiroi, but this is a classic case of lazy writing. David Cage in particular is one of the biggest offenders of this.
And that is admittedly
Uh,
one thing I will give Pokemon Gen 5 the anime credit, even though that series is kind of godforsaken, is them actually changing things up with Team Rocket a bit. And Gen
Yeah.
7 as well.
One of the laziest tricks.
Oh
of
my god,
writing
that's
you
right,
can-
in Gen 7, Team Rocket actually legit wins.
One of the laziest writing tricks you can ever do is, oh, how do I make people, sympathize with my main character? Simple. I just make everybody else a dick.
I
Of
mean, from what I can recall, it's only the one guy with the water Pokemon of these trainers who's a dick to ask.
I'm not saying this movie has that problem in a bunch or anything like that, Jova, but I don't particularly care for the fact that the other trainers are all.
I mean,
Well,
that's how I
okay.
obtains Charmander after
And again,
all.
and again, my point being is like, well, the only trainer of those three that seems to be a dick is the water guy. Like, the green hair guy seems just spunky, and the girl doesn't even seem mean. I mean, it's only the water trainer guy who seems like a dick, is my point.
Also, Mewtwo doesn't like stairs.
Yes.
Mewtwo is brilliantly played, if you ask me, by Philip Barley. Much better than Don Green. Don't get me wrong, I love Don Green, but Philip Barley is probably the best actor in this movie to me because he really nails the role. I mean, obviously he doesn't have that good of writing to work with, but he tries his best to sell us on the material, and he does a fairly good job, if you ask me.
He's mostly
does a great
he's mostly a stage actor and did a lot of stuff in the New York area, which is where 4Kids was based.
Piece of trivia, by the way. Two pieces of trivia, actually. One, the Catch Me If You Can Christina Aguilera song that we saw in the short earlier, that was instrumentalized and uses Misty's theme in Pokemon Puzzle League, and Mewtwo was the final villain of Pokemon Puzzle League, and that was the last time he was voiced by Philip Barley, not this movie.
They actually
I
did
like-
bring some music from this movie as well. One of which I actually do like is the music that plays when the trainers are taking off into the storm. I don't remember the track name for it. And okay, maybe it's because I'm just more used to the score of this because this is the score I grew up with, but I guess for something that replaced the Japanese version, it's fine enough score.
The fourth movie
Oh, boy.
was actually the first one to leave the score untouched, so...
The fourth movie.
It's one of the worst
Oh,
ones.
goody. The fourth movie.
Well,
We'll
what can I
get to
tell
that,
you?
Jova.
What can I tell you, Jova?
Pokemon Forever to me is
You know,
essentially just
you
a
know,
waste of an over.
Torture, for kids.
Again, dude, like Jova was saying, that's just the problem. It's abundantly clear that the filmmakers are trying to, at the very least, tell some kind of an engaging story. The problem is that, again, the executives will most likely, arm wrestling them the whole process.
Yeah, like, I ain't even gonna blame this on 4Kids. This is definitely executive meddling because it's
The
consistent.
original Japanese version is also bad. Not as bad as the English version, but still.
Honestly, I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but I actually might argue the English cut version is slightly better than the original Japanese version for some strictly as a movie.
Oh, and now I don't know where Mewtwo releases Nurse Joy from her mind control.
Look at that!
Well,
The
as-
miss-
as he just
Brock is
said,
the
Tail,
first
I
one
don't
to
need
run
you
over
anymore.
there.
It turns out the missing Nurse
Yeah,
Joy
But
was
if he
this girl.
didn't need her to communicate through telepathy, why did he need her in the first place?
He needed her, as the proxy to invite trainers because
Wait, hang on. If he can transport Nurse Joy from the Pokemon Center, why not transport all the trainers instead of making them go
Remember,
on
the whole storm
Remember,
was-
Dwibs,
the
the
whole
storm was to
supposed
test
to be natural
Test.
selection.
But what if they died on the way there? He wouldn't have any trainers.
Dwibs. You're assuming Mewtwo actually cares about that.
Yeah.
You're assuming he thought this through.
But
Star
Jovi, he'll
Wars
have no one to-
reference.
But Jovi, he'll have no one to brag to, will he?
That's
Well,
okay,
then
Dwebs.
they're
We just-
too
we
weak
do-
to
we
reach
just,
him.
we just start the process all over again. Dwebs.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
that would
he's the
take
bragging.
breath.
I don't think he's the bragging kind, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Mewtwo's never really
Well,
about bragging.
Well, if he doesn't want to brag about it,
Oh,
why
Okay,
right,
okay,
you're
okay,
about to
okay,
get
okay.
some nightmare
hang on,
fuel.
hang on. If he's not a bragging type, then why did he have a full? Why did he invite people over as a to his victory?
Because it has to do with
And
his
of
evil
course,
plan that comes
only a
up
clone
later.
Can make perfect clones.
Do it discreet, then no one will see it coming, and no one will try and thwart your plan, you idiots.
Dweebs, he doesn't care about people trying to thwart his plans. If anything, he wants them to try.
Exposition
Jesse,
time.
you're an
God,
idiot.
why did you sit on it?
Oh, no, it's time to read an audio log, to watch an audio log.
Captain's log, stardate 1999.
Is it like Quantum Break? We're about to listen to an entire screenplay.
No, fortunately, these audio logs are a bit less
Bye,
boring.
meow.
Meowfie could just. There you are. You're trying.
Bye, meow.
Boing. See, all I wanted was a bit of his tail.
Also, there was a panty shot of Jesse. Thank you.
Good old Japan.
Never change.
I'm surprised 4Kids didn't cut that part out.
Or censored it.
Maybe it just escaped their.
Remind me again what age are you supposed to be, Jesse?
Like
16.
18 or
20s,
something.
I guess.
I think she was 16 at this point. Let me check.
Well, she looks pretty adult for a 16-year-old.
It's Japan.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to either make people look way younger than they should be for their age or way older than they should be for their age.
Japan.
So yeah, basically...
Remember, Dubs. Misty is supposed to be a preteen like Ash.
Okay, I have a question.
And May is supposed to be even younger, yet she has way bigger...
Pedro?
Okay, right now he's just duplicating... Yeah, hold on. Because this is about to get nonsensical. Many attempts failed, blah, blah, blah. But our experiments proved successful, blah, blah, blah. Called it Mewtwo, blah, blah, blah. And...
Okay.
Excuse me, when did you have the time to
record all that?
Exactly. This is just like in Sonic Adventure 2, where
Everyone died because they
Where
all...
Geralt managed to do the entire audio log before his
you were
execution.
You were blown up in like 20 seconds. How did you
A
manage to
pokey.
record all?
Well, that one kind of makes sense in Sonic Adventure because
Okay, but this one, though.
I think you're allowed to give your final words and such.
I mean, this is.
One at a time, guys.
No, that was it.
But this is how I should have gone. My experiment's going wrong. I'm about to initiate the above.
Anyway, let's see. So
It's
apparently...
like you don't film, you call someone.
So, guys, you're gonna love this. According to the games, Jesse and James are supposed to be the same age as Ash.
No.
Bullshit.
Isn't Ash supposed to be 10?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Neither Jesse or James are 10. No,
I'm not
sorry,
even gonna
that's-
touch that.
no.
That's it. In the episode The Ultimate Test, we have 4 kids to thank for explaining this in the dub. While filling out an
We'll see.
application, it turns out Jesse is actually 17.
No. Still
okay,
no.
So basically,
No, I always thought she was in like her 20s.
Alright,
at
alright,
least.
At this
Yeah.
point, she's 17.
Unless
Unless you want to go by the
that's-
game versions, which say that she's 10.
By the way, that's one of my favorite lines of the movie. You are as pathetic as the rest.
anyway,
Are you talking to Ash or the writers of this movie?
anyway.
Well, to give the writers
back to
credit,
the-
Pedro, they were trying to tell a good story.
Yes,
I mean,
please,
I'm
don't
not...
worry. Oh, this bit, yeah.
Back to the plot of the story. Essentially, Mewtwo says, "You know what? Fuck your Pokemon too, because they're weak."
Also,
because they're
that was a Crash Bandicoot sound effect, or the roar.
That's a stock sound effect people used all the time.
Also, you know the Pokeball sound effects? It's used in the Sonic OVA.
Of
Yeah.
course,
You
it does.
humans have tried to make me my slave.
I'll be right-
So now I'm going to prove you all wrong by making all of you my slaves.
Actually, he's not going to make them his slaves. He's just going to... Well, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Destroy the world, basically.
Oh boy, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Also, praise the Helix.
You might want to hide. Also, what is with that sound effect?
Because, of course,
The
it
basic
was.
gist of it is that Ash challenged Mewtwo to a Pokemon battle. So
Ew.
Yeah,
Mewtwo's
how
bringing.
does this work? How does
See,
that...
you're right. Mewtwo perfected the cloning process to the point where clones can actually live now. How do you... No, never mind.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
Being
talking about
clones.
how they kind of just... Yeah, that.
Exit the goop.
Yeah.
That doesn't make because apparently they have the power to go through solid matter. I don't know.
It's part of the cloning procedure, I guess.
Also, they have markings on them, so you can tell that they're the clones.
The Jackal's clone machine made more sense than this.
Yeah.
Jackal must have popped them out before they were fully baked.
Oh,
the clone saga.
Fuck you, Marvel Comics. Ugh. Wait,
Hold
you
on,
started-
listen.
Cappies.
So, basically...
I have a question.
Yes?
How did Mewtwo, quote unquote, start with a Charmander, a Bulbasaur, and a Squirtle? He's been training. He literally started out with one of those three and went on.
Okay.
That was a lightsaber sound
Okay,
effect.
I guess to be fair, in the uncut version of the origin, they do mention how they have Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle DNA lying around the lab, which is essentially where he did build his castle on top of.
I guess. The problem is that they destroyed everything, though.
Oh, no. He didn't destroy everything. And besides, he's apparently super smart to the point where he can perfect the tech.
Oh, convenient.
Oh, goody, this bit.
I hate the whole thing with Charizard.
Yeah,
I mean-
it was pointless.
I mean, the thing with Charizard is that in the anime, I get it, he wouldn't trust trainers because he was abused. Here's the problem, though. He was learning to trust Ash just fine until he evolved, and I get it, it's a thing in the games that when you get a Pokemon that was not originally yours, that Pokemon will act up unless you have a certain
Until
badge
you
or
get the
whatnot.
medal. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. What time are we at?
39,
go to
57, 58, go...
Sorry, say
go-
that again, please.
Go to 40 minutes and 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 40-30.
Okay.
All right, so it's
So instead of
Venusaur versus
actually-
Venusaur.
Yeah, we're having a mirror match. Anyway, Shira, you're almost getting there.
I'm guessing for the sake of making it more interesting.
And click.
Why are you using Razor Leaf?
Because it's a strong attack.
But
No,
Why
that's
not
not,
Solar
it's
Beam?
not.
that's not what Vine Whip.
Well, trying to remember. Doesn't Vine Whip do more of a binding motion?
Again, it's the same kind of frustration you have watching the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Does anybody in this tournament know the rules to this game?
I mean, okay.
Like,
Now, if I can give him some credit, in regards to Pokemon, essentially the way the games portray the moves, there is a bit of room for imagination, so I can understand why they show how it actually does it physically, since up until the 3DS games, we never actually saw how the moves affected Pokemon physically except for a few here and there.
personally, I think Pokemon Origins did this the best.
Thankfully. I'll never get it, though. Even Yokai Watch fell into the trap of not paying mind to the game's actual weaknesses or strengths in, the first season or so. That is a thing with Mon collecting animes for some reason. They ignore the type advantages until later.
Well, with Yokai Watch, I would argue it's not as much of an issue because Yokai Watch is primarily a comedy that doesn't.
I'm not gonna give it a slide either. I mean,
Also,
Pokemon has some comedic
weird
elements,
there
but
in the
the
last-
type advantages still are a thing here or there. I mean, and I guess to be fair, you could argue that with these anime, if you're not a fan of the anime and you're just getting into not a fan of the original source material games, then I guess it won't annoy you for the anime, but what works and doesn't work still applies, though. Ignoring type advantages and disadvantages, if it's a problem with Pokemon, it's a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! And a problem with Digimon. Oh god, that was a problem with Digimon. And Yokai Watch by extension. Not that it makes them bad or anything. Sometimes they actually do clever things with them. Anyway, God dang it.
Yeah,
Mewtwo.
has its own Pokeballs.
Why? Because,
Why are you capturing them? Yours are much more powerful. Yeah, but why though?
Thanks for that
You know-
contribution.
So yeah,
Brock.
Mewtwo's plan is to destroy the whole world.
Mewtwo.
Because
Oh,
humans made me angry.
I have a question.
Mewtwo, here's an idea. You want to perfect humanity? Why not clone the humans too and then just kill them or something? I mean,
I have a question.
Sorry about the absence.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. I didn't even notice it. Okay, Mewtwo has psychic power. I get it. But psychic powers involve, levitating stuff, throwing stuff, and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't involve creating things out of thin air, and he creates these balls out of thin air.
well, okay,
Like
to be fair-
the psychic powers are basically the do whatever the plot requires.
Okay,
it to
okay.
do,
To be fair, Pedro, he actually summons them. You can actually summon stuff with psychic moves, hence stuff like teleport. So
Billion of them?
well, he's a legendary type, so yeah.
Go ahead. You can keep going.
Oh, well, as I was saying, I mean, he's summoning them, basically think about it like the move teleport, which can be done by psychic types. He's just doing it on the individual items. Unfortunately, these balls can
yeah,
actually
sure.
capture
That's
Pokeballs!
not how it works.
So,
Also,
Pokeballception.
wasn't
How
there?
did you even make those?
I don't even understand.
Also,
it
wasn't
anymore.
there a scene where an actual trainer tried to throw Pokemon Mewtwo? I must have missed it.
Now you like Psyduck.
There
Well,
was too,
to
but
be
he
fair,
just
she always
uses
does
psychic
like
powers.
Psyduck.
Okay.
It's just a tsundere relationship she has with Psyduck.
Also, no, just no.
Yeah, they really prolong this sequence of Pikachu trying to run away from the balls for no
Because of
real
their
reason.
Pokeballs, guys.
I get that, but do you spend
Yeah.
like 3 minutes in with this?
I've never gotten.
or at least what
what
it feels like 3
what
minutes.
exactly is Pikachu's big aversion to Pokeballs anyway? Are they like terrible inside?
It's an excuse for the mascot to have more screen time, Joe. But that's the basic gist.
Also, Joe, if I recall, it was never established how actually it feels for a Pokemon inside a Pokeball. That's why there are a fuck ton of webcomic that parodies that.
Yeah.
But hey, Tio, what
The
about?
energy?
But Tio,
thing.
I've got an idea. How about we create a steampunk Pokeball and just completely forget about it?
Shh, we don't speak about that, Jova. Not yet, at least. Also, here's another thing. Mewtwo just, I guess, invented the practically Master Balls.
Yeah.
No, forget Master Balls, Joe. These are the definitive balls.
Like,
They
seriously,
can even capture Pokeballs.
Like, seriously, can you imagine how useful those kind of Pokeballs could be?
Music.
Yeah, it's trying way too hard.
To be fair, it's a movie, so I'll give it
Well,
the.
it's a good thing that these tubes were man-sized and not just for the Pokemon. Otherwise, Ash will be stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, I think if I recently I've discovered another pet peeve of Tio's over trying music.
Honestly, I'll take over trying music rather than music that's
Also,
underplayed.
Dweebs, just because I notice things doesn't
Same.
mean our pet peeves. Oh, Meow, you have a
Aw.
personal clone. Aren't you happy?
He
We'll
is
never see
actually.
We never see the clone again after this, by the way.
We
Actually,
do.
we do.
Actually, we do, Dibs.
I mean,
We have an
after this
entire
movie-
conversation at the end of everything.
After the movie.
Actually, we do
oh,
see him
okay.
after the movie in Mewtwo Returns.
Mewtwo returns. Yeah.
It's
funny.
Pikachu!
It's terrible CGI.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
fight
Ash,
technology,
you can't
Ash.
eat.
The
I know
entire
you're hungry, Ash, but that's not going to work.
Oh yeah, right. There was I think there's actually a scene coming up that the voice actors.
Oh
got
yeah,
wrong.
this. You know what's the interesting thing? Because of what Ash is doing here, he's gonna blow up the entire machine by freeing all of the Pokemon that Mewtwo just captured into his balls. Therefore, rendering this entire sequence of Mewtwo capturing all the other
Pointless,
Pokemon completely pointless.
No,
This was all
Pedro.
just filler.
No, Pedro, it's not pointless because it actually creates new clones.
Okay.
And don't forget,
Mewtwo-
Pedro, the final fight scene coming up. And the moral
Okay,
behind that
okay.
final scene.
And what
Oh, yeah.
happened during it?
Not just that, not just that, Joe. But we're gonna have a shitty pop song with lyrics spelling out what we're supposed to feel sad.
Hey. I actually like that song.
I know, but much like the Brother Bear and Tarzan and Spirit
Honestly,
songs,
Oh, Tubbs is gonna love this song then.
it's
We'll
spelling
see.
out. It's basically the whole shtick of spelling out why we're supposed to feel sad, basically.
let's see how we consider now that we're older, since it's been a while since I've called it.
Well, Jova, here's the to give you an idea, Jova. Here's the opening lyric.
Hold on,
brother,
hold on,
my
hold
brother,
on.
why are we
Hold
fighting
on.
so?
Hold on. I'm just gonna wait and see because I'll still like the song. And honestly, look, it's not like Tarzan or Spirit where they have songs like that constantly throughout. I'll take one song like that if I still like the song. It's when an entire movie does it. So speaking of which,
So where did the other trainers went?
they got rounded
There's,
up around.
Did Giorgio Moroder take over the score now?
I love this line from Mewtwo that's coming up right now.
What purpose?
Bringing their Pokemon for him to snatch.
Why are you sparing their lives exactly?
For
Aren't
the moment, Pedro, he'll call them later.
Basically, he's saying, okay, you can go, now try and make it for the storm without your Pokemon. Basically, it's pretty much just... It's the equivalent to that scene from Dark Knight Rises. Death by exile.
Exile.
By the way, Mewtwo, I have a question. Your plan is to destroy the whole world.
Actually, okay. To be fair, his plan is to kill all original life with a storm.
That's not what he
and
said,
then
Joe. But his
repopulate it with the
line,
clones.
he literally said, and I quote, "While my storm destroys the planet."
Well, yeah, but remember how he says that he's also going to make new and better clones. Yeah, his plan is to destroy the planet, but he's also going... Yeah, his plan is to destroy the planet, but also to repopulate it with the clones, since he does mention he's going to make the clones.
Yeah, but he's still using a storm to quote-unquote destroy the planet thing. And
Yeah,
again, taking a cue from
again.
Little Karibo. Taking a cue from Little Karibo. What's the point in destroying the planet? What do you gain from it?
It's
You
in,
must
the,
have a reason, right? Otherwise, this whole movie was pointless bickering.
it's in the sense that he'll wipe out all of humanity's flaws and replace it with the better version.
Okay, here's the birth of a trope.
Ash tries to body check the big threat.
Basically, Shiroi, in basically almost every movie, Ash always tries to solve everything by punching something.
Hey, I'm gonna...
It's this where Snow got that idea in Final Fantasy 13.
Tio.
Apparently, yeah.
Tio. Snow has the excuse that, it makes sense in that universe to use your fists in some cases. Ash is a Pokemon trainer going against a Pokemon with his own bare fists. Like, isn't that kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist going against a Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster by just trying to body check instead of, using the cards?
I love how Mewtwo's animation of the Shadow Ball is reminiscent of the Kamehameha gesture.
Also, he's kind of
Yeah.
pissed.
Go ahead, Shiroi, yeah.
No, that's okay.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think I understand that bit more, Mew. But I'll
Mew!
mention
Alright,
this.
everybody.
Wait,
now
hold
we're gonna
on.
get an interesting...
No, later, I think.
Yeah, later. I will say this, though.
No, I'll mention this when we'll get to that speech.
Mew is kind of a...
Mew, pay attention. I'm talking to you, please. Thank you.
I think they're bored.
Mew's a cat, by the way,
It's a
Shiroi.
Pokemon with special needs.
Yeah, Mew is basically retarded.
Well, no, actually, Mew is saying something. Depends, though. But Joy, Mew is actually a cat.
Well, yeah, their name's Mew, Chofa.
You're probably wondering why I'm telling this.
Well, that's the thing. Mewtwo looks more like a kangaroo.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Guess who
Kangaroo 2 doesn't sound as threatening.
So in that case, guess who I'm naming the Mew I'm catching in Pokemon Yellow after?
We've cloned you from Mew. We've dubbed you Kangaroo 2 for some reason.
Mew.
Oh no, guys, I can't believe Mew is dead.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
Nope, he used Reflect.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And to be fair, Mew can know Reflect because he knows Metronome.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the I can do whatever I want move.
Classic
Their
line.
adorable
I have no time
face
for
is
games.
just a facade.
All right, now we're gonna get an interesting speech from you. So let's listen. Oh my god! So this is all just about showing you have a bigger dick, basically.
It's
Yeah.
a genetics arms race.
Oh, there you go.
And just like I said, hey, Mew, didn't you have a thing going on with a girl? Like, no matter what version you watch, cut or uncut, it's like we've completely forgotten that he had, that girl teach him the values of life.
About this.
Okay.
You want to say that,
Everybody,
Jovan?
allow me. Basically, everybody,
Well, actually,
you just had this whole speech about, don't you see the true strength of it doesn't matter if you're a clone or original. The true strength of a Pokemon comes from the heart.
I like
It's
this.
cheesy.
I like
but
this better because in the Tia,
Here's
why don't
what
you
he
tell?
says in the original version. He literally says, and basically, we are the originals are much better. We will not lose to a bunch of stupid clones, so fuck you, and basically starts fighting. I'm not even kidding. He's a fucking asshole in the Japanese
the thing
version.
that I think I realized, just from that previous scene where Mew is practically toying with Ash, I actually wonder if Mew is a representation of a trickster deity like Loki, in a sense that he does whatever he fucking wants just to insinuate.
Listen, let Jova listen. Let Jova listen.
Oh God, I love it. Oh God,
What-
hold
tell
on.
me
Let
what
me
you're
speak.
fighting
Let me
for.
speak. Let me speak. Oh God, I love this song.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean,
ironic
yeah,
way.
it's.
Yes, only translate Mewtwo because he's also a cat.
I don't know. See, the problem.
Also, this song doesn't fit the battle.
Yeah, that's probably why it doesn't annoy me either. Like, wow, it doesn't really fit. Anyway,
Go ahead, Jova, sorry.
Anyway, going back to the whole Mew thing, here's the thing with Mew in the original. Mew is a psychopath in the original Japanese context. Like, no
Basically,
doubt
yeah.
about it. He's a psychopath. And here's the thing. They still expect you to side with Mew in the original version. Like, Japan, what the hell? Again, this is one of the reasons why I actually do think 4Kids did a legit better job with this movie, because, for one, they knew, hey, we need to give some faith in humanity, and I don't know if actually, no, the moral is still the same, so they're not to blame for that either. But, at the very least, you get someone of who to root for. Like, if Mew had done that, that would be terrible. And the fact that we're supposed to side with it makes it only worse. Also, making Mew a psychopath, because get it, you never
why
expect
does
the cute
Pikachu
ones.
look, in awe of the clone?
Because he can't believe
Because
he's...
he cannot believe.
He can't believe that there's a Pokemon as OP as him now.
Not just that.
Take on.
My big problem with the lyrics of the song is the whole "brother, tell me what we're fighting for." The lyrics are so cheesy and completely.
This is a mood change, isn't it?
Heavy-handed, like all hell.
To be
like,
fair,
seriously.
that's also a lot of Japanese lyrics and stuff, so I can see why it's like that. The Japanese love their songs like that. It's just different for us because it sounds cool in their lingo, hence why our language sounds cool to them. Hence English, and oh my god, guys, what have we become?
Oh, here we
Wait,
Not like
so,
Finally.
Dwibs,
Basically, everybody, here's the big
Wait,
moral
no, wait.
of the movie:
Yes.
fighting is wrong.
Dwibs,
Yes, Jeva?
Remind me, are we not looking at an adaptation of a series of an RPG that is based around beings getting mons to, fight each other?
Well, we're looking at a film, a continuation of an anime about a game series about Pokemon fighting, but still.
This is
Yeah.
like Anita Sarkeesian's theory about this being cockfighting. It's stupid and dumb. Doesn't take into consideration that, yes, we get it, Pokemon fight each other, but normally it's...
This is like.
Here's the...
Which is
Jova, I just
ironic.
realized something.
What?
Which is ironic because this was in 1999. Around this time, of series that involved people fighting were at their peak of their popularity around this point.
And it was
Hey,
this
Jova, I
movie
just-
of all
hey,
things
Jova,
that
I
tried
just
to give
realized
us a
something.
moral that fighting is wrong. Yes, Pedro?
Not just that. Pokemon. Well, two things, Jova. One, Pokemon trying to shove this moral that violence is wrong. That's like if. Hey, Joe, I just realized this. This is about as stupid as if DC Comics tried to make a comic book where the message is vigilantism is wrong, but right? Because we know that would never happen.
That at all.
I I mean...
That's the thing, Shiroi. It actually.
I'm being
Yeah.
sarcastic.
Fuck
mean-
you, Doug Moek.
I mean...
It actually happened. Well, I guess also Civil War kind of counts on that. The
Oh,
comic.
God.
Well, that's
Civil
Marvel,
War.
though. We'll talk about DC.
Anyway.
Go ahead, Jovan.
Anyway, though, not only that, Pokemon was literally one of the most violent shows out there being shown to a family
Yeah.
audience. This is back in the day when animation was the more kid-friendly stuff, before we got more adult-like animations, or at least the mentality of that.
You know what's the sad part? The games also decided to, for some reason, fall into the stupid trap of Pokemon Black and White.
The reason the games are better about it is the fact that it's the villain, and we're obviously not supposed to agree with him.
That are doing it.
Yeah, I'll give that.
But Webs, that's just the thing.
Not just that, remember at that time, PETA was on the Pokemon Company's ass for quite a while now, so I guess the Pokemon Company tried to do their own satire, mockery of that.
Yeah, I can give It was Gen 5 that did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can give Gen 5 credit for that, in the sense that they obviously were not taking themselves seriously like they are here. Also, Pikachu is slapping himself. The humanity.
And besides, Pedro, villains who claim to be doing the morally right thing, but turns out they're not. That's a common villain trope.
Yeah,
I know, dude, but the problem is that this just comes across as lazy writing, because there's so many writers that managed to avoid that.
Honestly, just because it's an overused trope does not mean it's bad per se. I mean, heck, Yokai Watch uses a lot of overused tropes, but it does them good still. I mean, if we're gonna go against something for being overused, just that's not really being fair.
Yeah, but then in that case, we might as well just call the entirety of Yokai Watch crap.
Yeah, like, it's a trope of originality. Sometimes
realize what's the point of getting up on this thing, but whatever.
Basically, it doesn't matter how often a trope is used. What really matters is how well it's used.
Yeah, definitely. It's a point of sometimes originality can be overrated. There are plenty of original things that can end up sucking.
Okay, can you stop a Pikachu?
Gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
Or Pikachu clone, whatever.
Holy cow,
He's still trying.
they are so...
This is still going.
Like,
And
seriously.
it blew up the movie.
This is the problem with this movie. The plot is so paper thin and so clumsy.
Very hypocritical.
Due to the pacing, so little happens, and it's inconsequential.
Which is a
It's
shame.
just
Oh
a
boy,
badly
here we
constructed
go.
movie altogether.
Which is a shame, because the music and animation is overall pretty good. It's just the scenario, the writing, and that stupid as all heck moral.
And considering the script is the biggest, it's the most important part of a movie.
Truly, we are the savage animal.
Reminder that this was still around.
Peter got the idea for that game.
What's he so upset about? He sees this every week.
Reminder that this was around the time where the Pokemon anime tried to have the idea of Pokemon coming to the Earth with an asteroid that was a giant spaceship.
And Ash is now dead.
I never got how this bit works at all.
Yeah,
Yay.
instead of being disintegrated, Ash turns to stone.
Like,
I don't understand how this works.
My guess, well,
They don't explain it.
yeah, but the best hazardous hazardous guess that I can imagine is the fact that Pokemon attacks work differently on humans instead of on Pokemons. But still, it's a weird random transition. Especially because, if I remember correctly, there's not much attacks, Pokemon attacks, that actually have the effect of turning the opponent into stone.
My guess is, again, it's just an excuse to have them revive him with the power of tears.
this is
Why not just having me
I'm starting to
unconscious?
wonder- Hey, Teo, I just realized. They watched that Titanic Italian animated film, and they thought, this whole magical tears thing, they've got something
Oh
going.
my god, he's right, because Legend of Titanic actually did make it to the silver screen as well.
That's the thing, didn't it came after this?
I think it was 1999, so yes, it did come after.
Yeah.
Which means
More
Italy,
like- it's
Italy
more
ripped
like
this off.
Which actually will make a lot of sense considering my country is so fond of anime in general, so...
And hey, that movie was rather animist because they had Korea help them out. So, guys, anyone have a violin?
Tears are not special. They're literally
Yes, they are,
body.
Sia.
They're literally
According
body
to your
wasting
country, they are
material.
too. According to your country,
they're
they
the
are.
same equivalent as peace and sweat.
No, Tio. Tears are truly magical. If you cry enough while drinking the most fanciest...
The act of crying is particular, is special, I will give it that, but the tears themselves, fuck no.
Now,
So you see, kids,
now,
the
okay.
moral here is,
Now
if you cry hard enough, your dead loved ones will come back to life.
Now,
With
okay.
CGI,
Now, okay,
apparently.
like Pedro said earlier, 4Kids do have the benefit that they at least foreshadow this because, yes, this and the novelization does actually involve a legend about the Pokemon being able to restore the world with their tears when the world got destroyed or something.
And spoilers, Legend of Mana also did this better with the Droomy story arc.
As
guess
did
it's-
Kingdom Hearts with its opening thing about children bringing the world back with their tears.
And I guess in the Japanese version, this just comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, overall, don't get me wrong, both versions have their problems, but overall the English version is the better put together piece because, like I said, yes, the original uncut version is fine, but when you get down to it, nothing about the girl ever really comes back. So essentially, if that were the...
Walker's cut that bit out.
That's sadly my point. 4Kids had a legit reason to cut it out, which is a shame because it was such a good scene overall. But because the actual project never references it, yeah, it was a good move to cut it out. I'm saying it was a good move to cut out a good scene in this movie. Man, this movie has aged terribly.
Oh, also, the other trainers were there as well.
What do you mean it aged terribly? It was terrible when it came out.
Well,
the animation's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still fine to this day, considering it was.
Well, I'm
19.
referring to the story.
when this movie first came out, Troy, it was a landmark of sorts.
Well, besides Dweebs, it will be like 8 Crazy Nights. You can have the best animation in the world, but if everything else falls apart, there's no way of saving it.
Back in the day, this movie was more popular because, again, for the time, it was a benchmark of sorts,
Oh, and by the way, yeah, another thing that is the obvious. This apparently is enough to convince Mewtwo to just give up on his world domination project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So,
like, a
wait.
human sacrificed himself to save Pokemon.
Basically, Mewtwo was like, "We're done. Hope you didn't take me seriously. Bye."
But, guys,
Happy
believe it.
April Fools!
Wait, hold on, though. There's a little something else to come.
What?
Just,
Alright, I forgot
just
about
watch
that.
and listen. Just watch and listen.
They're all dying.
Yes.
Close your
I
way.
wish.
We're going away to
Wait,
die
listen.
peacefully because we're all clones.
Listen.
Oh boy.
And retcon! Well, okay.
This entire movie was a waste of our time.
Well, to be fair,
job.
I wish I could. Well, to be fair, I wish I could forget this too.
Now, okay.
Not just that,
Now,
this creates a massive plot hole because Giovanni still remembers
Well, okay, to
than
be
before.
fair to you, Mewtwo Returns does address that.
Well,
That
I'm
is
going to
what...
remind everybody that Sonic 06 ripped this off as well.
Not really. The
Oh,
event...
but there you go, Pedro. We actually see again the...
This could be the worst storm ever.
I wouldn't say that Sonic 06 ripped this up because the way Sonic 06 did it, that completely undid the events. In this version, they forget about the events, but they still happen, hence Mewtwo Returns. That's one thing. Mewtwo Returns is definitely a better movie, in my opinion, because it addresses the problems with this movie and makes for a better thing. Like, hey, Mewtwo, if you could have done this before, why didn't you mind wipe Giovanni?
Also, doesn't...
Plus, it has one of the greatest memes ever.
Also, how does...
Hey, I know. I'll use my trusty frying pan as a
As a
drying
drying
pan.
pan. Also, how did this work? Did we
Also,
actually
why is there a
transport back in
Japanese
time
symbol?
or just teleported?
Also, why is there a Japanese symbol there?
Yeah, that's
Oops.
we
4Kids usually have incredible phobia about...
Although, funnily enough, apparently it was actually with the Japanese stuff.
And what happened to Team Rocket?
We'll see.
They died
Yeah,
too.
apparently OLM they get rid of the Japanese text so that 4Kids
Cherish
can
it,
do...
Ash. This is probably one of the few times you actually see decently a legendary.
Don't worry,
Tio.
Tio. Me will be back for the Lucario movie.
Basically, 4Kids either just leave it on or either leave it blank or put their own stuff on.
But yeah. Like Tio and Dweeb said earlier, Mew wasn't even really the strongest legendary even in Gen 1 when you got down to it. Mewtwo was technically more powerful, and then there's the legendary birds. like Moltres.
Many
to be
strangers
Zapdos.
around.
To be fair, Mewtwo technically was the best because in Generation 1, psychic types were essentially the top
What do you mean the
dog.
journey's just begun? There's been like 90 episodes up to this point.
Tibs, it's
Ugh.
called the first movie for a
Oh,
reason.
there you go.
How interesting.
Well,
You know
at
what?
least they don't get blown. Well, hey, they've
I
got the whole
will-
island to themselves.
I will give this movie one thing for as much flack as I give it. At the very least, it's watchable, unlike the Digimon movie.
Oh
Yeah.
god, the Digimon
Well,
movie.
yeah, four kids at least didn't cut. Well, they
And
didn't cut
now
stuff as bad.
I think it starts with this movie, the trend of having a couple of random song rapid fire in short sequence, one after each other. in
But
the
we gotta
credits.
watch the credits because there's actual animation going on here, and this does convey stuff.
Well, they did this in the
Oh,
most
wow.
recent film, didn't they?
Yeah, and you know, there actually are some other good Pokemon movies. I just can't remember the names of them because there's so many of them.
There's more
I've seen all
Pokemon
of them.
movies
The
than
only
James
ones I
Bond
would
movies.
consider genuinely good movies are 3 and 8.
There was another good
I thought it
one.
said
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
oh,
right. I
oh,
also do like the
what
one
was
with
the eighth one
Rayquaza
again?
in it. Wait, what?
What was the eighth one again?
The Lucario one.
Lucario.
Ah, okay.
I do like the one with Rayquaza in it. Which one is that?
What's the Space Jam reject music?
Wait, there's a movie with Quaza in it? I don't remember.
Wait,
that.
you haven't seen that one?
Which movie is that? Which number is it?
I'm gonna check,
Destiny
Remember one with the
Deoxys.
Zoro? Oh,
right,
that
so-
one. I don't even. That one is just so bland to me.
I actually did grow to like that one. It's not for everyone, but I think in terms of being a
Music
genuine...
composed by Shinji Miyazaki. None of his music was in it.
Actually,
It's exactly
hold
my
on, hold on,
problem,
hold on.
guys. I love Shinji Miyazaki.
Maybe they kept some of his music in?
No, they
even,
didn't.
even crediting Junichi Masuda's music doesn't even make any sense. None of his music's here either, I don't think.
Exactly my point.
Well,
Why?
maybe like one or two tracks here and there, but
Also, the heck am I hearing now?
Yo.
It makes little sense to me because you're literally throwing away localization money that you don't need to because everybody loves Shinji Miyazaki's work.
the only thing I can think of is that maybe it costs money to put that music in.
Oh yeah, because without
More
movie
than
rights...
making a new one from scratch.
Well, it's a weird
Apparently.
thing though. For some reason, when it comes to movies, for some reason, localization works differently for movies than with shows. I have no idea, and it's really stupid still.
Hell, sometimes localization even changes game music.
And that somehow mysteriously stopped being a problem in movie 4. Go figure.
Thankfully.
Well, it happened again with the recent one.
Which one?
So,
except
Final
for
Thoughts, I
right
guess?
except for right at the very end.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's
so-
just going around, so might
yeah.
as well.
It was a movie.
Yeah, it was a
Again,
movie.
It was all. I mean, it all did matter at the end. So
Well, it technically will matter thanks to Mewtwo Returns, but that didn't exist yet, so...
yeah.
As far as we knew.
So in my, I haven't even seen Mewtwo Returns yet. So in my mind, it ended here.
Oh, look at that! Vacation is actually credited here, even though Vacation does not show up in the DVD release.
But Joe, it's in the
we
special
forgot.
features.
We forgot.
Don't Say You Love Me, which has a lovely music video. And by lovely, I mean it's so funny to riff on.
How interesting.
Or did Fred Durst direct that one? Or
So,
something?
Glibs, any other thoughts you'd like to share about the movie, or are you just going to say it's a movie?
Yeah, I've got more actually. I mean, tonally, the movie's all over the place. We go from a vicious storm brewing up to a horrible joke about Vikings, to a trainer being tortured, to Team Rocket antics, to Pokemon fighting each other and everyone saying it's wrong.
Oh,
to
hold
plot
on.
doing
Oh
another
wait, there's an
nursery
after credit scene.
Hey, Mew.
and that's about it.
Yep.
I will get you in Pokemon Snap, you bastard.
That was actually
Money-
important.
Trees were killed to bring that after credit scene to the screen. Everybody, was it worth
Wait,
it?
this was done traditionally?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Animations, yeah.
Yeah.
there was
It's because it was
Essentially,
around
trees
19.
were harmed in the making of it.
Basically, it was around 1999. They were starting to transition into digital animation.
No, but this one is clearly hand drawn. You can tell.
Well, Pedro. Hand drawn is not exclusive from digital. I get
Whatever.
what Bruce means, though.
Point being, this was a waste. Go and continue to use that.
Yeah. I'm done. It's kind of pointless. Next.
Sure, you go next.
This is a story that does not belong in this franchise at all, no matter which way you look at it. I mean, you could argue that since Nurse Joy just said, you know, they're not meant to fight like this, you could have thought, yeah, well, whatever. But then Misty is like, oh no, fighting is wrong. Like, fighting as a whole is wrong.
The problem is that they don't explain it. They should have gone more in depth. If what they mean is, oh, it's okay to fight as long as it's like a sport or something like that, then they should have.
That's what Pokemon training is. It is a sport.
Exactly.
In that case, they should have been clear about it instead of just brushing it aside. With
Yeah, they definitely should have been. It's like, hey, imagine by that logic, hey guys, let's defeat Sephiroth by not fighting because fighting is wrong.
Yeah, but this movie is a glorious mess that is fun to watch despite its complete contrivance. And honestly, I'm less mad at the retcon for this than 06 because I have a bigger attachment to the Sonic franchise than the Pokemon one, despite how much I loved it as a child. And, you know, it was less painful to go through as a whole.
And because the retcon actually gets addressed in Mewtwo Returns.
I actually haven't seen that movie, so...
Oh, Shiroi, you're in for a treat with Mewtwo Returns. Dan
Right.
Green hamminess.
Oh, okay, then great. But no, that's all I have to say. They should have avoided a story like this altogether, or at least flushed it out a bit more, so it would make sense with the franchise.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go... Oh. Okay.
Go ahead,
No,
Joe.
that was
Don't
it.
worry.
Carry on.
Alright then, yeah. Like I said, this movie is a prime example of first movie ever from a franchise syndrome. Could turn out bad, could turn out good. This is technically down the middle. This movie has good animation. It has a good idea behind it. And I'm not talking about the stupid moral, an overall idea, introducing a more wider stream to it, and it was obviously a success which spawned other movies which did the job better, because this movie is fun to watch. I have nostalgia for it. I will love to watch it again, although I will be critical to it. The story, no matter what version you're watching, in fact, it's even worse than the Japanese version, is a mess. Like, really a mess. The moral is... Again, one of the most hypocritical morals you'll ever see. Let's not fight at all in a series that is about fighting. That's not even getting into the overall hypocrisies of not fighting at all to protect yourself. No, in Pokemon, fighting is wrong. Like Pedro said, they should have just stuck with, they aren't supposed to fight like this. But no, they go the full mile trying to teach kids, hey, you know how you were playing those games? Yeah, it's wrong that you're fighting. It is silly. It is so silly. The music I do like. I'm not as familiar with the Japanese score of the movie. I'm familiar with the Japanese score of the show of the movie, but I still think the music is good. Again, the production values are definitely there. The voice actors are giving it their try, especially for a 4Kids cast. Although, to be fair, 4Kids voice actors are actually normally good. It's just the direction that sucks. The direction was surprisingly good here. I'll give them that. That said, though, what drags this movie down quality-wise is, again, the story, the pacing, the tone shifts, and characters who will never return. Like, seriously, what is the story behind that Harbor Master? She seems like someone who's supposed to be a hidden gym leader, like in Gen 3, or a hidden champion, like in Gen 5 or 6. Oh, well. Yeah, overall, this is a fun movie, though later movies would get the job done better. Next.
All right, I'll go next. It's mediocre at best. Like, as time passed, I already back then I wasn't really caring about the Pokemon anime. Didn't have the fact that my parents didn't want me to watch it because animal fighting. Don't ask, it's a long story.
So your
It's a long
parents
story.
probably love the Borovid.
It's a long story, Jova, and my parents are idiots, but that's another point. Point being, I wasn't exposed that much to the anime. The bits of it I saw was enjoyable, but as the year went by, I started despising it more and more for how mistreating it was to the games in general, and how at some point the games actually decided to incorporate some anime stuff into them
Yeah.
for no real reason I don't understand. And this movie is clearly not making a service to that. In fact, it's making things even worse by having all that weird stuff, backwards moral, and stuff that doesn't even actually happen, that doesn't make any sense if it was integrated like it was in the games.
And I'll kid you not, if I'm anything to go by, the moral flew over us kids' heads. Like, you know, me and my
Also,
friends, we all saw that movie. None of us
this
ever
is-
got the moral
this
that
is a thing
fighting
that
was
I-
wrong.
It's less accentuated, but it's the same problem that I'm having at the time of his recording with the Blue Dragon anime. They decided to do their own things instead of sticking to the actual games. And wouldn't you know it, when they actually started to try to do something like that with Pokemon Origins, guess what? The end product was actually very decent. Would you know? Anyway.
If rushed.
Yeah, true. And contain, but that's a topic for another day. Point being, this movie probably wasn't even good when it was released, and it certainly hasn't aged better at all. Definitely not a taste for me, and I'm not gonna want to watch it anytime soon. Next.
Take us away, Pedro.
It's a piece of crap. There, I said it. Someone has to be the merciless one here, I guess.
You
that's
sounded
actually
pretty
my job.
merciless.
Go
Go on.
It's like this movie doesn't work. The plot is stupid and contrived, and it doesn't make any lick of sense. The characters are stupid and overall uninteresting. Except Mewtwo has the basic potential of being an interesting character, but even he eventually succumbs to the writing stupidity. And of course, the moral is stupid. The overall thing just doesn't work. Like, there's barely even any actual free act structure in this. The movie just moves along, and there's, even though the movie's only like 1 hour and like 12 minutes long, it still somehow has fillerish moments. It just feels so stupid. I mean, considering how the movies after this actually had the typical 90-minute structure, we can really wonder why didn't this one as well.
Oh my
I
god,
mean-
you're right. This was shorter than 90 minutes.
That's also
Yeah.
another reason, Jova, why there wasn't really need to cut the little girl sequence. Like, yes, it's technically pointless because Mewtwo doesn't reference that, but at least you would have actually added time to the movie.
Well, that's essentially a pick your own poison thing. Then critics would have the ability to complain about that just being needless padding.
But anyway, continue, Pedro.
It's just terrible, regardless of which version you're watching. I do like that opening because at the very least it has some semblance of the beginning of a story, which unfortunately the movie itself does not capitalize upon.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, I dislike messing with the creator's vision in any way, shape, or form. Even
What if his vision was crap?
even if his vision was crap, Webs, I don't like it when a dub company or a localization company intentionally messes and butchers the original vision, because that's the trademark of a bad localizer.
So all
It's
Zack
like-
Snyder
What if-
needs to
what if
do
it's
is
like in
make
this
an
case
anime.
where it's- What if it's like in this case where it's an improvement?
Yeah.
If I okay, see, yes, Tibbs, technically you can argue that it became kind of an improvement, but I still don't like the idea, because again, well, if you think you can do better, make your own original movie. Don't mess with other people's work.
Josh Trank.
Well, yeah.
I mean, let's be quite honest. It's good they interfered with his vision there.
You're here to localize, not make creative decisions on the direction of the story. That's basically my point. Is that be true to be like the key mark, the true mark of a localization team, according to Schlock, is be true to the spirit, not the details. This the 4Kids here was not true to the details and was not true to the spirit either, because they butchered the spirit to an extent.
Did they
Why?
really? I mean, they kept the moral. I mean, really, they
Can I
just
finish?
cut out a scene, but go on.
Well, that's the thing, Joe. But that scene was, regardless of whether or not it becomes pointless or not, that scene clearly was one of the ones that had more effort into it, writing-wise. And I don't like the fact that it's been cut off for absolutely no goddamn reason, all because 4Kids think kids are stupid.
I literally gave a reason, though, is that it really does not connect to the plot. Like, that there is a reason that
get
most
that.
scenes get deleted, because they don't connect to the plot.
I get that, but I still don't like. But that's not if the original filmmakers decided it should be in, that it should be in. That's it. To quote Hayao Miyazaki himself, Jova, Senakatana, no cuts. There you go.
Well, Hayao Miyazaki knew what he was doing. I'll give him that.
To quote Dwibs, if it sucks and you can improve it, try and improve it at least.
Let's just
Dibs,
agree we all have.
So basically, what you're saying, Dwebs, is that art should not be respected. You should just meddle with it as you can, as long as it fits your purpose. Basically,
not really, honestly. I mean, let's just say it really varies on the case.
Adaptation is an opportunity for change. That's why it's an adaptation.
By that logic, we shouldn't.
Pedro, what you're talking about is translation.
Yeah, I mean, translation, localization. Honestly, we all have different takes on it. I mean, I honestly think it's an improvement. You think it's not an improvement?
I do agree that it's an improvement. But I still do. Unless you're going to revise the whole movie, then I fail to see the point.
Well, they didn't have the authority to revise the entire movie. Anyway, you were saying, Tia?
No, I'll save it for after we're done, especially because we're dragged already enough.
Anyway, any other thoughts, Pedro?
The end.
Oh, God.
So yeah, that was Pokemon, the first movie, the entire package. Hope you at least enjoyed it. See you for the second one, Pokemon 2000, because 2000 was a thing.
Yeah. And people really like naming their movies after 2000. So.
Yeah, because we all thought the world was going to end that year.
Whatever. See you, everybody.
See ya.